comments? Join us live right here on the Fear Fishing Experiment. live right here on the FearFishing Experiment.
Up next on the very special 100th episode of the FearFishing Experiment.
Mr. Bob Izumi is going to join us.
They've come out of retirement for the 100th episode.
We got our hands on the all-new Tatua SV.
All this and so much more coming up next on the FearFishing Experiment. Don't miss it.
Report suspicious activities and call 911 for immediate response. Expect delays, searches of personal property, and restricted access to public buildings. Expect traffic delays and restrictions.
Oh, jumping. That's a football. Man, on a smallmouth bass.
Hold that up. Sure. Oh my gosh, that's a big fish.
You know what? It turned out into like cinematic genius. It's just beautiful.
The idea is just keep rolling.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to show number 100 of the FearFishing Experiment. Wow.
What a feat.
I can't believe we did this. I can't believe it happened. When I started this, I didn't think we'd make show 10. Honest to God. If you add up that the FearFishing Experiment, most of them are 2 hours plus.
Oh, yeah.
There was a marathon once
Some
with
that are
Chris and
4
Corey
hours,
that
yeah.
went 4 and change. That means there's probably over 300 hours of the FearFishing Experiment of just talking about hunting, fishing, and nonsense.
I didn't even know you knew that many words, bud.
I know. I can't believe that I found that much stuff to talk about.
no, I can believe you know that many words.
Absolutely. Anybody who's listening, thank you. Hit that share button. Subscribe to the FearFishing YouTube channel. Sean McCall is watching Facebook. Amber is watching YouTube. Questions, comments, get them in. Help us keep this show flowing. We're running out of things to say.
No, we're not.
Mr. Izumi is going to join us shortly. I'm pretty sure he's probably busy fishing. He does a lot of fishing.
Yo, yeah.
We got
a dream, that guy.
We have special in-studio guests. We brought somebody out of retirement tonight. It's crazy. You want to introduce? Well, I guess I should introduce myself first.
Yeah.
Ian West, Port Hope, Ontario. I've been on all 100 episodes. I actually did one episode, just me and Pete Glusick.
Yeah?
Yeah, a long time ago. I can tell that story, too, because Pete's the first guy who ever disagreed with me on this show.
No, he's not. Or maybe the
No,
first,
like
but not
he
the
was
last.
the first one who would like. Hey, I remember that Pete Glusick was no, Ian. I think you're wrong.
Perfect.
Yes,
I've been there.
That's a good story too. Yeah. I'll tell that story when we get through this.
Well, Mark Hunter, Bowmanville. I think I've been on probably 60.
Oh, more than
plus.
that, I think.
I think I came in on.
You were in the old studio when we
27
had the
or
couches and stuff, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we had like the two chairs and
The world's most uncomfortable couch. That
yeah,
was-
yeah.
I remember watching that show.
Do you?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I chimed in for sure.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Scott Walden,
You've been here.
Trenton, Ontario.
You produced this sucker back when it was like a couple keyboards and
Yeah.
from show 3.
AKA Frozen Tundra.
Frozen
Tundra's in
Right.
the house.
What was the first episode you were on?
I think number 3,
Ike.
Ike. Yeah.
Remember those days we had Ike on here? He went Ike. out.
Showed his nipple.
He did. He did show his nipple on the FearFishing Experiment.
And I missed it.
He used to be the
too.
yeah. Keep going.
I'm
Who
gonna
we
go
got?
watch that show now.
Mar, you've been on a lot of these.
Yeah, Marley Horniak, and I'm from Coburg.
No, you're not.
We'll say Coburg, it's easier.
Yeah.
We'll just lie.
We'll just
Yeah,
lie.
we'll just lie.
North of Coburg,
North Dakota.
Almost vanilla.
almost vanilla.
You've been on a lot of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. You pop in and out.
Yeah.
Marley sat in
Hoping a
this
good
chair
time.
the first.
Do you remember? Yeah. Do you remember when he showed up with his new motorcycle?
Yeah, I do.
That was a big episode.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
It was in the back of his truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just picked it up, man.
There's a lot of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of these,
Yeah,
eh?
Seriously.
I don't remember the date of the first one. You introduce yourself, and I'll try to find the date of the first one.
I'm Sean McCall, AKA Doubles, or now I guess you guys call me $6.
$6. We can get into that too. I totally forgot about
Yeah,
that.
I don't know that story.
Oh, Sean got a new handle when we were ice fishing there. Well, actually, before we started ice fishing.
Yeah, we went out to Brecon Point Ice Hut Rentals last weekend, and
Yeah, we did.
Mark dubbed me $6.
You know what? You know those old clicker price tag things? That you know those
Yes.
click, click,
Yeah.
click, click? Well, they had one. It was sitting on the counter, so I just couldn't resist. Reminded me of my old
Retail days?
Red Rose or White Rose days when I was a
White Rose.
stock boy at the nursery. So I just took it and I put one on right over his heart.
Yeah.
Aw.
And it said $6.
And it said $6.
Or half dozen.
Half dozen. Let's keep her going.
Did you get any offers?
No, I didn't.
No takers at 6. Eh?
No.
Keep her going.
Hi, I'm Amber.
You must have done close to almost 100 of these.
I think either 98 or
99. I think
Yeah.
you missed one because you were away with your mom or something.
Jamaica?
Maybe.
No?
No.
No, we
No,
went
we
somewhere
planned
else when
everything
she was
around
in
this.
Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even my 40th birthday. I planned it around.
It looks like Woody's wearing a Fear Fishing hoodie.
It does. Yeah. I miss those. That was the best hoodie ever. Yeah.
Introduce yourself, young man.
Hey, I'm Woody from Baltimore. This is my first show, so I'm kind of nervous.
Don't forget.
How many what show did you come in at, Woody?
I think it was in 70s.
70s?
Yeah.
We've really upped the game since the 70s.
Oh yeah.
This thing,
Whole other level.
The first 10 shows weren't even live because we didn't have fast enough internet.
It wasn't live till like 30 or
We would just record this. When we had Ike on, we recorded it early in the day for that Ike could do our show and then run and do Ike live.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first 10, and then we upped the internet. Do you remember that? We had to change internet providers so we could get enough upload speed.
And I hit live by mistake.
Yeah,
One.
we did a couple mistakes.
I remember that one.
Do you remember when there must have been 30 episodes where the opening wouldn't play?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Here's I got a trivia question for everybody in the room.
All right.
The first Fear Fishing webcast, that's what we called it, was October 1st, 2015. Who was the first guest?
Scott Martin.
No,
Oh.
he's a Canadian angler. I'll give you guys
Oh, yeah.
hints. He's a Canadian angler. He comes from the ancestry of Zeus. He enjoys meats at the fishing shows.
Wanger.
No, he did win
Tells the
Angler
best
of the Year
stories
on
ever.
the top bass. He does tell the best stories ever. He's quite possibly might be working.
Oh,
you know,
Spiro.
Spiro Agros
Spiro.
was the first
Really,
guest
eh?
ever.
He's a beauty.
Yep.
We should have got that with the
Mike Williams was on show 2. Mike Williams had to open up for Scott Martin.
Really, eh?
Show 3 was Jason Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
The second half of show 3 was Ike and Ellie, and then we had Fat Cat Newton. And that was the hardest. And when I had Fat Cat Newton, so Fat Cat Newton's been on twice.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Nick's been on twice. And tonight, Mr. Bob Izumi will be the first time 3-time contender.
Ooh.
Mike Williams,
Holding the belt.
Mike Williams has been on 3 times
Yeah,
because
at the
Mike Williams
Bowmanville.
was on show 2, Bowmanville, and at the Spring Fishing and Boat Show.
Yep.
Yes, he was.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Mike Williams is our first 3-peater, and I believe when we go to the Peterborough show, that Mike Williams is going to sit on a bit of that one.
Oh, he's holding the title.
Nice.
Yeah, he is.
He'll like
That's
that.
gotta be a
Sneaky
big
Pete,
thing,
eh?
He'll like that.
Look at
Get
that.
that
It's
trophy.
sliding on the radar. So when Bob comes on here, he'll be our second 3-peat guest.
Nice.
It was really nice when we were at the Spring Fishing and Boat Show. Spent some time with Mike Williams. I really like that guy.
He's
He
a
is.
dude,
I like that
eh?
guy a lot.
He is a serious, he's a
Yeah.
dude, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
He really enjoys the shows and talking to people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's a big brotherhood that we're in, right?
That guy can sing like a songbird. Too.
It is
Yes.
unbelievable how well he can
Yep.
sing.
You should hear him. What
Like
did
it's
he
his
do?
job.
Thunderstruck or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some ACD song.
Yeah.
Oh man, he rocked it.
I think he did that in the Uber too, and the guy just stopped and watched him.
Am I on Cash Cab?
He's an absolute cash cab. 100 shows. Man, I can't believe that. I can't believe how much has changed in 100 shows. Like, I can't believe how much I've personally changed in 100 shows.
You look a lot older, bud.
I do feel a lot older.
What? This was 2015? 5 years?
October 1st, 2015.
So this year in October, it'll be 5 years.
5 years.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
5 years of talking about fishing.
Remember that you
Alien.
used to do the
All those
favorite-
Mondays wasted.
the favorite fishing story.
Yes. Keith
yeah.
Cavallas had the best fishing story ever. He got a crankbait caught in his butt and his front pedestal seat where it had like 12 rods out, and he had to jump off the seat to pull the hook out because he was getting.
It pinned him to his butt seat.
He was connected.
Yeah.
Like,
and he went for it.
He went for it.
Had to, yeah.
And then we were all laughing really hard, and he's
got
like,
the
"That's
camera
not
or
the best
something."
part." He's like, "I had to get my aqua view to see if the hooks were still in there."
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pants down in Lake Erie with a 12-rod spread by himself with the aqua view going.
That's hardcore.
That was the beauty of a story. Scott Martin had a good one too about jumping in the water with the alligator in Okeechobee when he was a teenager in his Astro bass boat, his 17-foot Astro bass boat.
That's a hard no.
No. I've seen the gators down there. There's not a chance I'd be jumping in that water.
No.
JT Kenny had another one too.
What was JT Kenny's?
His
JT
cousin
Kenny was
passed
the.
out.
Yes, no, it was another angler. Who was it?
Shoot.
But they were going redfish, or they were going to catch fish to eat for dinner, and he was like, we drank so many beers that
Luke
Clausen got in the
I thought
boat,
that was JT
passed
Kenny.
out. They got back to shore, and Luke Clausen was like, JT, let's go catch some fish for dinner. And he's like, what are you talking about? I already got them. JT was the first person who came on the show and really laid her out how it really is to be a professional bass fisherman. Like what sponsorship money is and trying to get deals. That was like a real...
It ain't a dream job.
It is not a
No,
dream
it's not.
job.
No, it's not.
Also, how different people had other businesses.
Yeah, it's a struggle. I think if anybody thinks that fear fishing is just we get to do whatever we want and we do this show and life is pretty on the other side, this has been a struggle to pull off 100 episodes.
Sure it has.
I've had some hair pulling, almost tear moments trying
Every
to,
other Monday.
getting these figuring out. I can remember in a time I didn't even know how we were going to do the next one.
Yeah. A few times.
Yeah. I didn't even. There's lots of times where I thought, like 5 minutes before the show started, that this wasn't happening.
We've had some technical difficulties.
Yeah,
through
we
the time.
have. Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
We've had. We're award quality now.
We're getting there.
Getting close.
Yeah, man.
It's been crazy. It's been a
It
wild
didn't matter what the problem was. We just kept going through it. You know?
Absolutely.
We kept the show going because we knew it could be uploaded later. Even worse comes to worse, right? So just keep the show going.
We muscled through it.
Talked amongst
dial
yourselves.
up internet.
Dial up internet.
What
Remember
are
the
we on now?
first
Bell 5.
Bell 5,
Yep.
top of the line.
250 megs up.
Yep.
Yeah, but the first I remember, and the other thing is I didn't know how to do any of this. Like when it wasn't. I don't know very much about computers. I know enough about computers to do the vlog, and I'm not a computer genius or anything. Like I had to spend hours YouTubing to figure out what a soundboard was to hook microphones in. Do you remember when I came home and I told you we were going to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And I just started ripping this room
And I
apart.
was like, when are we starting? And I come downstairs and it's like already done. I just went to work for 6
Oh,
months.
well, that's where the whole idea.
Was it in here? Was it always in here?
Yeah, it was always in here. This used to be my music room where I hung out with my buddies and played, jammed, and had evenings of fun.
I think you should get your guitar and play us a ditty for the 100.
Probably not. But I remember I watched Ike live and I really liked Ike live, and I got this idea in my head that Canadian fishing really needed to be talked about.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Right? And I really wanted people in the United States, anglers, to realize that we were doing this here and that people here, that Americans would understand that we were trying to do the same thing and that we share a common passion. And then it grew into like a live show, and then started hunting and started shooting bows and started doing this and started doing that. And we didn't have the same people at the start of this, and friends changed and relationships dwindled and new ones started. And even though you haven't been on very many episodes, you shared the snot out of this, and
yeah,
like,
you've always been part of it.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't like on this side of the camera.
Yeah.
It's always been in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how much work it's actually took over the years to pull this off.
We've done a lot together too.
We have done a lot
We've
together.
gone a lot of places we wouldn't have went to, and met a lot of people we probably wouldn't have.
Classics and
Yeah, man.
For sure.
Tournaments and-
You guys learn my ice fishing side?
Oh my God.
Ice Hut Scotty. Oh yeah.
my favorite,
He's
Scotty.
a different cat. Let me tell you.
I think the really cool part about this show is that over the 100 episodes, we've got some really cool messages about people who listen to the show.
Oh, I got some right now.
Like,
Oh, yeah?
you know what I mean?
Yep.
The most I'm not going to say the young man's name, but this is the one. I will be honest, there's been 100 times that I really wanted to quit, and that I thought I was going to quit, and the last 5 years hasn't been easy on my family with getting sick and me being sick and trying to pull this off, because this runs on a real shoestring budget. Like, every cent that we
Pretty
have
well
that
Velcro.
that is extra goes into filming vlogs. I'm like anybody out there. I hear all the
no
time,
name
like,
Velcro.
you're so lucky to do this, and I don't think people understand that there's been times where I put my last $20 in my boat before I go film a vlog.
Yeah.
True
Yeah, yeah.
story.
True story.
Every morning.
Yeah.
It's $20 in gas. Eh?
You know what I mean? Like, so I remember I was at 2 years ago, the year that the FLW Canada Cup had the great big storm. Do you remember that? And we were all waiting to blast off. I think it was the
4 years ago.
Yeah,
Probably the first year it went on.
And Quinny?
yeah, and there was like a
I
big
think it was
storm.
the first year.
You and I fished it, didn't we?
I don't know. I don't remember a storm.
Was it Corey?
Remember?
Was it when Corey was doing it?
I'm not sure. I remember there was a big storm and they delayed the blast off.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I don't remember that.
Well, it was Quinny, wasn't it Quinny, and then it went to Tri-Lakes?
It was Quinny, because I remember standing at the hockey arena waiting to
Yeah.
blast off.
Oh, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Wasn't last year, it was the year before.
year before.
Yeah.
Remember we had to wait for a blast off?
Yeah.
So I got this text message from
Eric
our
and Ashley won.
yeah, that
That's
one.
the
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were waiting, and it was early in the morning, and I was being a little uninspired,
Mm-hmm.
and I got this message on Instagram that was a mile long, and it was a young man from Kingston who said that he was dealing with some severe depression problems, and he thought about taking his own life,
Mm-hmm.
and that he had found the Fear Fishing Experiment and started listening, and he started hearing myself and my group of friends and Amber and I's conversations, and from that moment on, he saw that there was possibilities of finding friends and
Mm-hmm.
getting over this, and you know, and he said it changed his life, and he basically just sent me a big message saying thank you for doing the show,
Wicked.
which he
Wicked.
like.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I
Thanks for
think through
listening.
this show, I've got that's the one that really stands out to me. But over the years, I've got some just absolute beauty messages from people. And I always seem to get them every time I get real frustrated and down the dumps. And how are we going to pull this off? And then I get one of those. And then we're going to figure it out. When it's really important to me. I think this show... through everything that everybody ever did on the show, we've brought a whole lot of spotlight of people seeing fishing tournaments for the first time, going places with their friends, adventures. Hear all the time about people who...
I think we've made a difference.
Well, I hope we've made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Cost me $100,000.
This was our hallmark moment.
But yeah, that's really important. I think that's really important that at least we seem to be inspiring people to do more and get outside.
I agree.
And
I agree.
that makes me really happy.
Quite
That's what-
often that you'll share those messages, some of the messages with us, so we get to read them too. So,
Yeah.
and there's some really, really good stuff coming out from
And none of us really knew each other before any of
No,
this either.
no.
Like,
That's
you guys,
friends
you
of
guys
friends
knew
of
each
friends.
other.
No,
we didn't.
I knew of Mark, and I talked like I would say hi
You
to Mark.
guys
at
met
tournaments.
because you guys met because you lost everything
the
got
guy
stolen from.
broke in my boat,
Yeah.
stole all my stuff. And
So
remember,
Mark
we had to
offered
go
a whole bunch of
Skoogok the
stuff.
next day.
Didn't even know the guy said, dude.
Yeah, he sent me.
What do you need?
And then the one year at the
Massive.
Classic, you were wearing a fear fishing hat.
Yeah. Remember I was
I
waving
see.
Yeah.
the flag.
And then we got in a real pinch one time to have somebody fill in for somebody, and I was like, I bet you Mark Hunter would do it. And then he just
Yeah, I would.
stayed.
Just stayed.
You're a lucky guy.
I got
for
my
it,
own
Dave.
room with the back of the bus.
Ah,
You're a beauty.
Yeah.
it's been crazy. Oh, Sean and I met through Mark
Yeah.
to go. You came on the show and talked about your experiences and hunting and growing up, and then you just stayed.
Yeah, well, I met Mark Hunter at a boat launch when I broke down, and it was the shittiest weather out. It was rainy, windy, late fall. My boat broke down, and Mark for 2.5 hours wouldn't leave me. Helped me work on my boat to get it up on the trailer.
Nice.
And ever since then, we've been tip to tip.
Pretty well.
Right?
Big spoon, big spoon.
Right?
What's up,
Or
Scott?
the Fear Fishing tournament. That's where I met you.
Oh, yeah. The one me and Scott won.
Yeah.
Oh, at my
You
trailer.
never got a trophy.
At my trailer, yeah.
You won that?
Marley and I.
No way. And then you and I won Tri Lakes last year.
See? That's when
In a Johnston moment. I'd seen
Yeah.
a stretch of ducks. I never got to fish during like a CSFL event because Corey and Chris were always there. And I was going to go to that deep weed that we saw, and I drove by and nobody was there. What did I make? 2 flips and got 4-pounder?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's enough to
Then
beat
you lost
me.
a big one, too.
Then I lost a big one. We would have had a super sack if I would have landed everything. I broke a ton of fish off that day.
That was a fun
Remember
day.
that? It was a fun day.
Yeah, we had a good one, too.
One
good one.
What?
When we did that thing on my trailer, the Fear Fishing.
That was a rough day.
Yeah.
Tri Lakes is either super awesome or super not. You remember
You guys ran a pigeon or something, didn't you?
Yeah, we ran the whole way. Because I want to try that weed bed, the deep one.
Yeah.
On the point?
The miracle point. Yeah.
Do you remember when you on that rock you threw in on what must have been that hole and you hooked that giant, the 2 back to back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the day Marley taught me how to use a spy bait.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, you should ask Sean.
Untie it, throw in a jerk
Sean
bait.
about
And what
spy
you
baits.
do, you throw it as far as you can, and then you close the bail halfway through the cast, and then just let it sail as far as it can go.
No
Never
way.
pick one up ever again.
Sean's on the same bite.
That's how you fish.
You guys share the same technique.
Oh, that's amazing.
Spy bait and wizardry right there.
Yes.
They fly though, man. They go.
They got some weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
That's
go.
crazy.
And they sink.
Remember your drone? The drone in the tree. The drone in the tree.
Do you remember the one you went up and
That
got?
had nothing to do with me.
That wasn't a tree. That was a really big bush.
It was a tall, skinny, like cedar.
Things you never, hey, do you want to fly the drone? You don't say that to Mark Hunter.
Wasn't that the same show that I locked my keys in the car?
Yeah, it was. We had to call CAA, and the guy knew who we were.
And then he showed up with a coat hanger.
How could you?
Actually?
Yeah.
There's, with the people in this room, there's so many great memories of over the years. You remember when we first cast our first jack?
Yeah, of course. Tri Lakes.
I've never been so excited in my whole life. We had to have a conversation waiting to get our checks out. We weren't going to act excited till we got back to the truck.
Yeah.
We were trying to hold it together.
Why?
What?
Why?
Because we never cashed a check before.
No, but why would you want to hold it in?
Well, we didn't want to look like we were never going to do this again.
I wouldn't care. I'd celebrate.
You can't celebrate huge on your first NHL goal like you're never going to be back.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Yeah, we got 6th place. You caught that freak of a fish
Yeah.
under that dock.
The mossy beast.
That fish had mold on his back because he'd been pressing up against this old dock for so long that he had mold.
Really?
Mold or algae, like an algae?
No, it was like infected.
Really?
Yeah. It is over 5.
It counts for added weight.
I was gonna say, was that
So
like
the
a
dock?
quarter
It wasn't
ounce?
really. It wasn't really a dock. It looked like the dock's still there, like right now.
Yeah.
But the dock looked like it had floated and stopped here and just became encompassed in this weed bed.
Mm-hmm.
And he come firing out under there. Yeah, probably using a spinner reel.
Yep, of course.
8-pound mono
Yeah.
that he'd like reused off his float reel.
Yeah, you just had the good side on it.
Balling on a budget.
The yellow.
Oh, so true. One of the coolest fish. Do you remember the airplane dock fish
Yeah.
that came out in the side?
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite.
The fish, like the airplane dock here, and there wasn't enough room for him to swim out. Marley flipped the jig. We watched him turn on his side, come out, grab the flipping jig, turn like sideways again to get back under, and Marley gave him the beef.
Yeah.
Was that on sturgeon?
Skoogog.
Skoogog?
Did he make a big ding on the bottom of the?
He never
ski?
got under.
No.
He was
came out
trying.
sideways and he couldn't get back under.
Wow.
Marley gave him the boots. We watched him like a 5-pounder turn on his side and come out sideways and grab the flipping jig. And he just got him. If he'd have got back under, there'd been no pulling him out.
No way.
Wow.
Gosh, check that day too.
You did, yeah.
I remember my
Celebrate.
first check.
Do you?
I was super happy. I was pumped.
So was I.
For days, man.
Got third.
for days.
Third? We got sixth.
Third. Our best was me and Mike. Third, top bass, Seymour.
No way.
Yeah, our first season. I think it was our second.
Seymour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Seymour's good.
Yeah.
Mine was in
Not
ninth
for
place. I got big fish for the day, and it was on Rice Lake, 128 boats.
No way.
Yeah.
What place?
Rice Lake.
What place? Like what?
Ninth place. Ninth place. But big fish. Got big fish for the day. Still got the mug. Top ass mug.
Yeah.
Do you remember we shit the bed at Seymour?
Yep.
Then I wrote on Facebook, there'll be no dirty brown in this bag. Went to Skoogog the next day for top bass, and we won top bass with 19 and change of smallmouth.
There you go.
And he was so convinced we were largemouth fishing, he didn't even bring a smallmouth rod.
No, not one.
The holy miracle happened. We go through this bay, and in less than a foot of water and 35 degrees, the hottest day I can remember, we look over, and there's about 10 4-pound smallmouth eating crayfish or something. So we started catching them, and they would spook out and come back. Whatever was in there they wanted it bad. They would pass the boat to get back in there, and we'd catch a couple more.
Yeah, there was 10, then 9, then 8, then 7.
Yep. And then I remember using a Texas hook with like a 164-ounce bead head and a slammer sight fishing them.
Really?
Yeah.
Something nice and slow, and
it would fall so slow.
See, I would have just backed off 100 yards and threw a spy bait
onto the shore.
You could have backed off to Gorski's.
I was like drop shotting with my flipping stick.
Yeah, he was too. We had my Sylvan. We didn't even have a bass boat at that time, and we had such a big bag of fish. We had to put one of the fish in the bait well.
Yeah,
nice.
And the pumps died. Do you remember when you pulled the pump out and the boat started flooding?
I had to swap the bilge for the live well pump.
Really?
So when you unscrew the cartridge, obviously you have a
Water's
2-inch hole in your boat.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had to do that twice to switch them over.
Wow. Remember the time we had the pump problem?
And I hit her with
the G juice?
Yeah.
Like our fish, they were dead to rights. We opened up the top and we just closed it and we were like, oh no. What are we going to do? We had an okay sack of fish too. We're like, oh no. This is terrible. Ian's like, hold on, I got the G juice. Put the G juice in there, mixed her all up. We closed the lid. We prayed to Roland.
Little mouth to mouth.
Yeah,
right?
we prayed to Roland.
I was like, they'll be fine.
Yeah, and
it's like, get it up. Let's go.
We opened them up to put them back in the bag, and they were all like, "Hey, what's going on?
You're got any more of that juice?"
That's
who was with me when the pump died, and I put the paddle to it. Banging on it and open the back hatch and hit her, and she turned back and just hammering on it, and she kicked back on for me.
Got hit by the paddle? I don't.
No.
Oh.
Hey, I got some questions, comments here.
Sure. Okay, throw some out.
Where do you think the furthest away you've been watched? I have somebody here that. Where do you think our farthest?
Didn't somebody watch from Colombia one time?
Yeah, there's been.
Yeah, there was somebody from Colombia or Peru.
Germany,
Real
those
Canadian-
guys from Germany that we met.
Guys from Germany, they watched.
Real Canadian Lunker Hunter said he's been watching 75 to 80 of them, some of which while he was in Iraq.
Oh, wow.
Sweet,
That's
sweet.
He's a super good dude. Thanks for your service, my man.
Yes, thank you.
And Mark Tomlinson,
Yep.
he's been watching since 2018, and then when he met us in Knoxville.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Super excited, he said.
You going down to Bama?
Oh, mama.
Yeah, who's going to the Classic? Tell them to chime in.
Yeah.
We want to see
Yeah,
you down
yeah.
there.
If anybody's going to the classes, let us know.
You know we're going.
Yeah,
Are you going to run that opening for Bob? I think we got 2 minutes here.
Gonna make sure we get a hold of him.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That'd be great.
That would be even better.
Keep talking.
Keep talking. We'll keep chatting amongst ourselves. Yeah, it's amazing where people have watched from and where those guys from Germany were crazy.
Oh, yeah, they were. They're
So,
entrepreneurs.
I think most of the guys in Germany are crazy.
So they don't have bass in Germany, and we met them at the Classic, and they were telling us how they were smuggling them in from Italy to stock the lakes. Guerrilla stocking, they called it.
That's awesome.
That's hardcore, eh?
Wow.
Like super hardcore.
I would do it
Would you?
for sure.
Your own pond?
Just keister the bass in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Backpack them.
Double check he's standing online.
Yeah, there's it in case you have to text him.
No, we wouldn't really do that.
You can just tell him who you are. He'll understand.
What's on the little?
Oh, the turntable. So Amber went and had
yeah.
100th episode FearFishing cookies made.
From
Look at this.
Frosted Flowers.
Frosted Flower Co.
Oh.
And later we're going to play a little bit of cookie Jenga.
Cookie Jenga.
Yeah, there's no way they're making it out of here alive.
It was touch and go Cookie Jenga while we were putting that together.
Yeah, that took like half an hour.
Yeah.
Is there a moment during the podcast that you guys remember as like that stands out?
The podcast?
Or the Fear Fishing Experiment. Is there a moment on this that
Our first
stands
classic.
out?
The weigh-in at our first classic, I thought was pretty cool.
The weigh-in?
Yeah, when we went all down to the classic for the first time together. I thought that
down
was...
in Houston.
Oh, when we all got teary-eyed.
Yeah. Everybody was emotional.
It is very
I remember Ike posted a picture of him going to the weigh-in at Classic, and you can look in Amber's in the background, and your dad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a beauty. We have
Ike or your dad?
My old man. We got some outtake videos to show everybody after the break. Maybe we can come back to that. That Skype is not working, eh?
Yeah, you might have to. He wants you to try another number.
Oh, you can. Can you do that, or do you need me to?
I'll see if I can do it.
Yeah.
Sweet. Steve.
If you got questions, comments, fire them out here. This would be a great time to get through some of those.
He wants to know if there's going to be a lot of used fishing tackle at the tackle swap in March.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, there will be.
Oh, there's a ton of tables.
Absolutely.
I believe there was 150 booths related to fishing.
All fishing.
The show. All fishing.
I know some other companies that wanted to be part of the show, but they were not fishing related, and they were told not this year.
Crazy, eh?
There's some gems too.
Wow.
There is some gems.
Yeah, well,
if you got to get there early to get the real good stuff.
There was a guy who's selling a 15-foot Hardy.
Really?
Remember those?
Yeah,
They were all the rage back in the day.
Yeah. That's quite the rod. Like
there's an
I passed up
ton
on
of
it.
stuff of it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm stupid.
How much?
It was like $100.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts.
That was
I him it hot. I'm like, no, I don't really need it.
You do now.
Obviously,
Do
you
now.
did.
I want it.
That's funny. The Hardy, eh?
Yeah.
I remember seeing my first Hardy. That was a big deal.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
in the steelhead world.
Steelhead rod.
It's an English company, isn't it?
Fishing.
Yeah. rubber
Trout.
pants.
Back to the classic. Mark Tomlinson is not heading down.
Oh, that's very too
but
bad.
he'll be at ICAST.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'd like to go to ICAST. I think.
I've never been to ICAST. I would like to go too.
Yeah, it's on the list.
It's on the list
Absolutely
of things I'd
on
like
the
to
list.
do. That was
That's this summer, right? June or something?
July.
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 Is it in Orlando again this year? I'm not sure.
Seems to be there most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's Las Vegas though.
Yeah, sometimes.
Or was in the past in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but not for a few years. I'm pretty sure.
So you guys don't have a highlight from a podcast that we did, of the webcast, or
These
the
are the
experiment?
kind of things you warn us about before the show.
That's not as much fun.
I'm pretty sure I said something about that.
I think
What?
we got Bob here.
I did say.
Oh, wait, we got him?
Yeah.
Yeah, fire away. Let's bring on Mr. Bob Izumi. We got a sweet opening for him too. He's the man. On it.
That's us.
He's one of the good guys.
Yeah.
There's been nobody in Canada at the game longer. Tournament angler, guest speaker, television host, with such productions as The Real Fishing Show and Real Fishing Magazine. There's been no one more influential in Canadian fishing than him. Bob Izumi needs no introduction. If you're Canadian and you like to fish, it's probably because of this guy. That's the bio. Mr. Izumi, welcome to the show. How are you, my man?
Well, you know what? Life is good. Is the audio all right?
Yep, we hear you loud and clear, my man.
All right. I just, I'm kind of scruffing it tonight. I was out cleaning the snow bear and then took it over to Wayne's to store. We got back real late last night from Manitoulin Island. We're up there for 5 days ice fishing, and I was the host of the Manitoulin Ice Showdown, which was an interesting event. Over 700 folks from all over the place, even Southern Ontario people, and pretty cool. They caught some real fat rainbows.
I saw a picture today.
12 pounds.
Yeah, I saw the picture today on Instagram. That's a big fish for through the ice.
Oh, they got a lot of them. Yeah, like there's some of them are like about that deep.
Wow.
And like there's one that was 12.86 pounds, and it was just, I don't know what the girth on it was, but it was abnormal looking. And then there were some long fat ones and all kinds of shapes and sizes. And then we got a bunch of lake trout on video on Lake Manitou as well. And yeah, it was cool deal. It was a very well run event, over 50K in prizes.
Wow.
Pretty pretty neat. Yeah, it's sort of, for bass tournament guys like us, it was kind of neat to see what the hard water folks do.
The Manitoulin Islands is a beautiful spot in Ontario. I've been up there. A ton of deer on that island. That is a beautiful location.
It's almost like another world. You go over there and people are incredibly friendly. I was kind of blown away by how nice everybody was. We were there since Tuesday night, and so I met people all over the place because we were all over the island, filming Lakers and rainbows, and then I just ran around for 2 days and met people and watched them weigh in and catch fish on Lake Manitou in the center of the island, then on Manitowoc Bay, which is a big bay that's on the big water, and you should see some of the pictures. I saw the smallmouth bass up there, boys. 8-pound smallmouth.
I've heard about this.
Wow.
Yeah, and largemouth lakes on the island, a couple of them. Musky lakes up there, and it takes you 2 hours to get to the other end of the island. It's monstrous.
It's huge.
It is, and I don't know. It's sort of like going to Margaritaville or something. It seems to be in a very festive mood.
So is the Manitoulin, is that in a zone where bass is open all year long?
No, that's actually above the Trans-Canada. If you go up near Blind River and Spanish in that area, south of Elliott Lake, that area bass is open, which is only like an hour from there, right? So they do have the regular season on the island. I asked that same question, Sean. I wanted to know myself. I would hate to go sight fishing, in May up there and looking at giant smallmouth everywhere. But it is really an untapped fishery. It has every species of fish up there.
Yep.
And not many people are fishing. I'm going to go back, I think, in the fall for the big rainbows, and I'm going to maybe go up there in the summer for some bass. I don't know. It's just one of those places that, why I've never been there that much?
Why?
I had this cameraman in the 80s from Sudbury who worked with me for 8 years. And he said to me, and he was a hardcore hunter and fisherman.
Yeah.
And he said to me, he said, never shoot a show on Manitoulin. Like, this is like in the late 80s after I'd been on air for about 5 years. And I said to him, why? And he goes, well, that's where I vacation for 2 to 3 weeks every year. And I don't want you telling everybody about it. And so I held true to that even after, we parted ways and he moved on. And in the 90s, I stuck to my guns and didn't go. And then went on my last trip last fall, shot a bass show up there. And then that's when we met some of the folks up there about this ice fishing derby, and
that's awesome.
Here I am back again, and I'm hooked. I got to get back there. It's just so close too.
Well,
it's not far.
It's not that bad. When I was a younger man, I went there once for fall steelhead fishing with my grandfather to Blue Jay Creek, and caught Blue Jay Creek, and caught a ton of steelhead right at the mouth of that river.
Well, that's what they were talking about, and I know you're a steelhead guy. First and foremost, before you got in this bass crazy tournament stuff. But there's a couple of rivers they mentioned, and I can't remember what they were. But I asked them yesterday while we were shooting the breeze about steelhead, and I guess there's a couple of runs there in those rivers that are like crazy. And I said, are they crowded? Nobody's there.
Nobody's there.
Nobody's there.
Wow.
There were so many fish that I showed up and I was like, this has got to be a sanctuary. And I called the M&R to ask them, and I told them where I was, and they were like, no, you're free to fish. And I was like, oh my, there's nothing like this in Cobra Creek.
Wow. It's so good it should be illegal.
That's right. No, we have an absolute ton of questions for you, Bob. We've been working on this all day, the whole crew. I asked you this.
Hey, first off, I couldn't tune in earlier because I literally walked in the door 5-10 minutes ago, right?
Yep.
Is this your 100th show?
This is 100 shows.
Yep.
Wow. Time flies.
Time flies. You were on in the first season, was the first time we had you on, which was really exciting for me. Now, I asked you this question back then. I'm looking, this is an update question. And what is the best rumor you've heard about yourself?
Oh, well, I get one about every month about giant fish that I caught that I never caught, right? so somebody will come up to me and say, yeah, I heard you got an 8-pound largemouth on so-and-so lake. And I'll say, oh, yeah. Where's that lake at? And they'll tell me, and I've never even heard of it before, right? And so it's really hard to correct them when it's such a good rumor, though. I do correct them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get that a lot. the best one was the funniest was my neighbor, who doesn't live there anymore, but he's a guy that we deer hunt with, who lives just down the road, and now he lives in Griffith, and he's retired from Ford, so he hunts and fishes all year long, and he ice fishes at least 5 days a week this time of year. So he was at a gun show, so he goes to a lot of these gun shows and puts up a table and sells stuff over in Eastern Ontario. And he was at this show, and person starts talking about me at a booth, and he was selling rods and reels, and he says, "Hear about Izumi?" And Mark says, "No." And he left his wife. One girl down living on St. Clair now.
Oh my God.
I said, "Mark, did you crack him?" He goes, "Heck no." He says, "It was a good one." I guess I started that rumor. I should admit it. No. It was funny though. And I said he didn't even crack them. He was telling me, but and there's been ones that I've retired from the show, or there's others that I don't know. It's weird because when you've had a TV show for like 37 years or whatever it is now, and you're in the public eye, and a lot of people, your name comes up, I think they get me confused with other people because just the show's been around so long. So those rumors are always out there. And I mean, some of them are kind of goofy. Some of them are pretty funny. Some of them are pretty weird. Like, I mean, I used to get a lot of, when the other fishing show got in all the trouble.
Yeah.
Snagging fish and fishing out of season, all those things. I'd get people I'd be in like a Subway shop, I remember, in Burlington. The guy said to me, "Getting in any trouble lately?" I kind of chuckled, thinking he's, it was just a good old boy sort of saying, right? And he was the owner of the sub
that's
shop.
funny.
He said, "Oh, that's good." And I said, wait, did you mean like trouble? And he says, "Yeah, all the charges you got." And I said, "Whoa, that wasn't me. Whoa. Fishing show." But that guilty by association, just because you're in the same business.
Yeah.
That happened a lot. Like I remember my one of my sales guys about 15 years ago was trying to get a deal with Government Canada on a tourism contract and a national deal, and the guy right in Ottawa said, "Oh, it's too bad about Bob." And my sales guy said, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, all the trouble he got in and that." And it was like, this guy said it wasn't him. He goes, "Oh, yeah, it was him." And so there's some people you can convince. So
Wow.
those things, I mean, so I'm just kind of jaded with it all. And actually, I get a kick out of it. I mean, it's funny. It's what are you gonna do?
I actually have a rumor that I'd like to ask you if it's true or false.
Okay,
and you
good.
know about this because we'd heard this rumor together. Did you catch a 10-pound largemouth on Lake Seymour?
Are my lips moving? Absolutely. I got two that day. Here is the truth to Seymour. Actually, this picture behind me, that's funny you say that. So this picture right here.
Yeah, that's a very famous picture.
That's the original painting that Corey Trepanier did up in Caledon there, renowned artist. And that's the original one that we made the prints off, right?
Yeah.
That was on Lake Seymour, and I took Corey, and we actually caught that fish. It weighed 615 on camera, and then he did a painting of that fish, right? And I think he called it hog log bass or something like that. And so that's the biggest fish I've caught on Seymour. Yet my brother Wayne locked through when locking was allowed in some of the earlier tournaments. In the OV Pro Bass Classic or GM Pro Bass Classic out of Aurelia, ran down the Otonabee, down the other way.
Wow. What?
Locked through, caught a 7, right? And it was 7 even or 7 and change. I can't remember largemouth in the tournament, weighed it in, broke off a bigger one in the pads that same tournament.
So this actually, the rumor started with Wayne. I'll tell. Marley and I were fishing a weed bed, deep weed, and a gentleman came up to us and said, "That's Wayne Izumi's favorite weed bed. Bob had caught a 10-pound largemouth out of it."
Well, it might have been Wayne's favorite. So what he was doing is he was fishing near the channel in Seymour.
Yeah.
Any of the pads that were close to the deeper water. And Wayne always did some kind of goofy things, right? Like if he was frog fishing one day, we're in a tournament, right? And all of a sudden he's popping a frog, and I look, what the heck's on the back of your frog? And he pulls it up, and he's got a baby plastic frog hooked on the back of the frog like it's
going for a walk.
And he's popping, and I said, what the heck is that thing? And he goes, oh, I just thought I'd put two on one bait, like 2 for 1.
That's
I'm
what I
like,
called you.
and then goofy stuff. Like he caught a nice Laker the other day we're filming on a Berkeley snap jig, but on that he had a roe bag and a big long walleye, what was it now? Maxent worm. It's like, what are you doing? You fishing steelhead? You fishing walleyes? and he catches a laker, and so I'm like, oh, great. How am I going to talk about this, smorgasbord? But anyway, snapping a weedless flipping jig through the pads on these areas that have pads right near the deeper water, but they're up on the flat with the stumps and that. And he's snapping it through the pads, working it almost like a swim jig or almost like a frog just under the surface. He got that 7 and landed it, and then not long after he got a heavy fish on, saw it, and it was, he figures over 9, and it broke him off. He was using like 20-pound test mono back then. So the legend continues.
The legend
continues. The wrong first name.
The wrong first name. Yeah, that was what we got. It was Wayne's favorite weed bed, but Bob had caught a 10-pounder. Do you remember that day?
Yeah, we never caught anything there.
We never caught anything.
No, well, that's because it had a jig in its mouth and it was swimming around.
And a little frog tied to the back of the jig.
Oh, my God. We should send Wayne and Sean McCall with a camera out on the lake to come up with the most ridiculous things to fish with.
Hey, listen, I call it covering all my bases. Okay?
Wow.
In one cast.
One cast.
You got any questions there, Sean?
I do. Actually, you know what? I got a question from Chris Flay. He's a guy that watches the show all the time, and he asked if we could ask this question, Bob. He says, ask Mr. Izumi about doing the seminars in the Canadian Tire parking lots with his first silver, red, and blue Ranger with the very first flipping stick he ever seen.
Yeah, that would have been a few years ago. Chris, I would have had a full head of hair. I used to look like Jimi Hendrix back then. But,
or like Sean.
That's what happens when you're on those darn Mercuries, for 41 years of your career, they rip the hair right off your head. The funny thing is I learned how to flip in the late 70s from a guy in Kentucky who learned from one of the guys in California. And I don't know if he learned from D. Thomas or Dave Glebe. And then, of course, Gary Klein brought that thing eastward. And then Roland Martin had the boys from California teach him how to do it. But I learned in the late 70s how to flip. And I had some of the original Fenwick flipping sticks to start with. And I remember when I got my first boron flipping stick from Fenwick, I went to go see Cam Thompson in Niagara Falls, and it was Woodstream at the time was the parent company, and we went over to Buffalo and picked it up in their warehouse over there and drove back through customs with it. Can't remember to this day and age, since that was like 1980 or 81. I don't know I can't remember if we claimed it or not through customs, but anyway, we got it back, and I used a fiberglass, then a graphite, then a boron flipping stick. And I went out to Rondo Bay with my first flipping stick after I learned how to do it from a guy named Fred who owned a taco store in Kentucky that I used to go as a teenager. I'd hang out down there and fish with these guys in Kentucky and bass fish. And they'd come up to Rondo Bay. That's where I met them on Lake Erie. And there was an old stone foundation on Rondo Bay that used to hold largemouth. And actually, my partner and I won my dad's bass tournament in 1977 on it. We were crankbaiting. The wind was crashing in on this old foundation that was submerged on a sandbar on Rondo, and we were casting crankbaits back then. Mann's Razorback Pigs, they were called, on this foundation. And so I knew there was always bass there. So one day I'm out there in my old glass-drawn bass boat. It was like a 77 glass-drawn that me and my buddy bought. It was my first bass boat when I was in my teens. And I pulled up and I stayed about probably 10 feet from it. And I let enough line off the end of the flipping stick, and I just sort of swung it out a little bit and put it down by the corner of the foundation. Also, my line starts going sideways, and I was using this flipping type jig, one of the original ones called a flipping fool. It was the first one that I believe was commercially available. and there were the Arky jigs that were more homemade before then. And all of a sudden I sort of lifted on it and I hooked this fish that was just under 3. And I swing it in the boat and go, man, this short line fishing is cool. This is pretty neat. That was my first flip bass ever.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And it just went from there. I mean, I went to Long Point flipping the reeds, and I went to the junkyard on Rondo Bay, which is all this flooded cars and
that's awesome.
Trash, and like there was a stove that always produced fish for us. Get bass in the stove. There were fridges along there. That was back when you could throw junk on the shoreline, and it was allowed. It was forming a break.
That's awesome. Crazy. I got a question for you. You've been with Ranger for a long time, and we all have memories of those late '90s Ranger Comanches that you ran. Do you still own one of those? Like, do you have a vintage?
No vintage. I run into them every now and then of boats that are old boats, because you think that we've averaged 2 or 3 new Rangers every year between Wayne and I, and at one time I think we had about 12 or maybe 15 of them at once, because it got a little crazy. What happened is Wayne won that Canadian Open, right?
Yeah.
In 83 and 80. 82 and 83, so he won a Ranger then each year, and then I won the Canadian Open 92, 93 he won it. The 94, 95, 96 I won it, so I won Rangers then, and then I won a Classic in between that, like in 95, where I won a Chevy truck and a Ranger. So at one time I had like 3 prize Rangers I didn't sell. They were just sort of sitting there, but then I needed some money, so I ended up selling them all. But they were sitting there, sort of like trophies in the driveway for a while, and then we had the sponsored boats. We wouldn't sell them at the end of the year. We'd just keep them, and we ended up we had a lot of them at one time, and we don't have many now. Well, actually, 1, 2. I have 7 or 8 now. I don't know. Like 6 or 7 or 8. I don't know. But there's a few. But we're gonna thin them out a little bit and try to be normal, because it's it's just like today. I'm running around.
I'll help you be normal.
Bear. Like I'm
Those are cool.
Power washing the snow bear and the big trailer, and even though we got a lot of toys, it is a lot of maintenance. I'm the maintenance guy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm fixing them and cleaning them and all that. And I used to have guys that did all that in the early days. The good old days, we had a lot of staff and stuff, but not as much now. We're a little more leaner and meaner. So I'm kind of the jack of all trades, master of none, and my fishing foray is not as good now. I think I'm getting old. My prowess is not there like it used to be. I just keep seeing all you young bucks beating me all the time. It's killing me.
I've got kind of a serious question here, Bob. In the last few days, Bruce...
Wait! I've never seen Sean that serious.
I know. We're kind of blown away too.
All right. Well, this question is actually kind of serious. In the last few days, Bruce Tuff's Lab has come out with their proposal to the OMNFR, and I want to know what you think about the bass season proposal that they've put forth.
Gosh, I haven't heard it. Give me some of the key points.
Okay, well,
they want to open largemouth a week later, so it would be the 4th, and I am just doing this off memory, the 4th weekend in June, smallmouth the 1st weekend in July, and on the tail end of that, they were talking about a proposal to open bass from January 1st to May 10th as an catch and release in Zone 20.
Wow, that's the St. Lawrence, Lake Ontario stuff?
Yeah. Like East Lake, West Lake, Wellers Bay, Brighton Bay, Quinny.
See, before I heard B, I thought, okay, A, I don't like, because now we can't fish bass till July. But if it's a catch and release only season, I think it's wonderful. I mean, it's putting the fish back quickly. It's a big controversial thing if you take a bass off a nest and put it right back. Oh, the gobies, everything's in there eating the eggs. I don't think they're eating them that quick.
Yeah.
And it's that big issue, because we've all seen it before where, you catch a bass off a bed and you see it go right back to it. It's not like they leave unless they're ready to leave and it's near the tail end of them guarding the fry, or the nest is empty and it's like they didn't, get lucky that year or whatever, right? So I would say that that's a pretty cool proposal. I mean, Bruce has got his act together. What I like about Tufts is he's a tournament. Well, first and foremost, he's a scientist and a biologist, and secondly, he is a tournament angler.
Yeah.
So he understands it pretty good. When they did the Thousand Islands Open to 4 fish instead of 5, I was a little bummed because I'm more of a numbers guy.
Yep.
And I like numbers, but whoops, let me just. Uh-oh.
You in trouble?
Yeah, have you still got me on?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I'll get my IT guy in here because a guy is phoning me who Rick McCrory.
Yeah.
And I just pressed it off there. But
he's
Rick,
getting his knee surgery,
Rick has been
isn't he?
texting me all night, and I can't talk to him because I've been so busy. But getting back to let me just see if I can see if my IT guy Darren is within. Oh, there, I'm back. I got you back. I lost you there. Okay. Sorry, my screen went crazy with this phone here. But anyway, what happened is the 4 fish limit was kind of a bit of a bummer for guys like Strube and myself, and a lot of the guys wanted 5 fish. But I understand why they did it. They didn't want to move that many. They're cutting it back by 20% by doing that way, by moving big fish all over the system. I understand why they did it. I just I'd like a 10 fish limit if I could have it, yeah, why not for team term? But I know it's not good for the fishery though. So that's just a selfish reason. But I think it's a good idea. I didn't know they were pushing for it. I just been out of the loop.
This just came across Facebook the other day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You know what?
Hey, can you imagine what that would stimulate in the economy?
And you know what else, Bob, I was thinking is if that's the case, we could do high school tournaments now, like an MLS
Well, they're
style,
in school.
right? You know what? Like you could.
And the economy, there's more opportunity for anglers to get out on the water.
If they did high school tournaments like that, I would have stayed in school. But grade 7 was it was the best 4 years of my life. It wasn't bad.
Wait,
drove out of there, didn't you?
While we're speaking about this, if you didn't become a professional fisherman and the Bob Izumi we know today, what do you think your career path would have been?
The weird thing about it is I wasn't ever focused on money. It really that I'm not. Hey, it is what it is, and life has been pretty good, but it's never been that. So I would have been just as happy getting a paycheck doing anything. And that's why it's kind of bizarre, really, that here I am, had this really neat and amazing career for 40 plus years. And it's never been about being money driven as much as I love the sport of fishing and I love tournament angling. And the only reason I'm still doing what I'm doing is to support my tournament addiction. And I know that it's expensive, and I don't want to, just in the early years, I'd be disappointed if there wasn't a good profit at the end of the year. Last bunch of years, I'm not seeing the profits on the ROI on my tournament. So not like some of those 2 brothers in Peterborough that you guys had on for your marathon show.
Our marathon show.
I watched about 2 hours of that. Right to the end, I tuned in a little bit later, and I'm going, oh, they're going to end soon, so I'm watching and laughing and listening. And I think after Corey and Chris, well, not Chris as much, he's pretty mellow, but I think after Corey had a few beers, I think he forgot he was on the microphone and camera.
That was our plan.
Yeah, that is the only show that we had to have 3 breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 breaks. Yeah. Pee breaks or breaks?
Breaks, pee breaks. Reload Corey on the bruise.
Yeah, that was funny. That was pretty good. You got them completely. That was completely off the cuff for those guys. That was as real as it is. I mean, Chris called me today while he was driving, heading down to the States to get ready for the Classic, and he called me about a couple of questions he had, and I talk to one of them about every other week. One of them calls me. So I get this, it's Chris or it's Corey or it's Chris or Corey. Some days it'll be both of them if they're on the road. They'll give me a buzz. And I laughed, when Corey was driving back. When I saw them on your show, I was laughing, talking about how their career's going. One of the reasons they're so successful is, unlike Me who grew up poor and really, I mean, I had a single parent and they were 4 kids he raised in southwestern Ontario, my dad. So I didn't grow up with a lot of money, but I will say this: we grew up a great life, and this is not me playing a little violin or anything. I'm just telling you, it was a great life, but we didn't have a lot of money. But with those guys, they're not worried really about where their next meal's coming from, because I'll tell you a funny story is Corey phones me. You know how he did well in Detroit, right? Top 10? I can't remember, but he didn't win like the fighter one, but he was right there. I forget what place.
He was close.
He came in with fighter and he caught a big string last day. So he driving back that day and he calls me the next day and I said, "How much you win?" He says, "I don't know." And, did you win like 12 grand US, 15 grand, 60? He didn't know. And okay, you can't tell me anybody in your studio now or myself wouldn't want to know how much I won being in the top 10 in an elite tournament.
Is it still cut in half between the two brothers?
It's all put in the same bank account, and the expenses come out and the winnings go in for sure. But I was laughing because even if I get, top 20 in a tournament here in Ontario, I want to know how much I won. Was it?
Totally.
Was it 10
We're not
bucks,
leaving
or was it
until we
50
know.
bucks?
I know what I won at every clubby, let alone other events.
But that tells me, though, that they're so focused on the job at hand that it's wonderful for them. And I will say that, I know some big name pros before that I won't mention names, but I'm not talking like top tier, but for sure, big names that you have read about or seen. That, when we were doing some of the FLW Open events and Rick McCoy was traveling with me and stuff, we'd get to know some of these guys, and some guys wouldn't even travel to Ticonderoga from Plattsburgh to practice because they didn't have enough gas. And this would be a tour open event, and they were a pro. And so, I know some guys are cutting it real close to the edge when they're fishing these tournaments. And when I asked Corey that question, I found out one thing. They are worried about catching fish. And yes, they've got young families they're raising. And I know that changes your whole way of thinking too, because that takes away. But I know when they turn it on the water, they're like this, and that's why they're so good. And not everybody has that focus. And even throughout my whole thing in this business is I was more focused before the TV show. When the TV show started, it was different, and it's hard to turn off the switch from all the media responsibilities and appearances and seminars and all that stuff. And when you go to a tournament, your mind is, what have we got to do with, this or that or whatever. So I like that. I wish I'm jealous really in a lot of ways. I mean, it's so cool that they can do that, and they're going to reign for years. I know their start in Florida was kind of bad. I didn't call either of them, and they didn't call me for that few-week period. And I didn't want to give them the old what happened, because we've all been there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They all have bad tournaments. They have bad tournaments, not many, but they have the odd one, and but it will be interesting to see how they rebound at the Classic because of the the bad one now. They usually don't have two bad ones.
No,
they
don't have two bad ones.
Are you going to the Classic, Bob?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna pass. I'm actually. As crazy as it is, I haven't even unloaded my truck. Actually, my suitcase is still in the truck from ice fishing and that. I haven't unloaded it completely, but the snow bear's put away, and I'm going back to Florida. I'm going to go fishing and golfing for a little while, and then come back for the Sportsman show. So,
well, while we're on tournament talk, I got another thing I want to talk to you about. The boys are all down in Mexico representing their country, Team Canada. They're down there for the 2020 Pan American on Lake Guerrero in Mexico. How do you think these guys are going to fare out?
Well, they didn't take boats. I think they flew, right?
Yes.
I was talking to Savoya, and it sounded like they're flying down. Now, they got some incredible help. I mean, Peter's girlfriend had got a lot of things arranged. I heard she got some things done sponsorship-wise, and then some support down there, and then also from here. And then who was the guy that has a business in Monterey? What's his name? Sebastian or no? There's a guy that Savoya knows that has a business, family business that's in Monterey in Canada, and so he's got connections down there. He was getting them looked after with a house on the lake, some bass boats from some Mexican anglers. He was taking them to Costco to do a run to get supplies.
Beer.
I saw the pickup truck with all the stuff in it from the Costco, and
I didn't know they did that run.
And
If
I definitely seen
known
them
it was that organized, I would have canceled all my plans for this ice fishing deal in Florida and gone down there.
Oh yeah, and they picked some boats up today too as well.
Yeah, that's just way too good.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be in the top 3. I don't know who's the U.S. sending. I haven't even seen it yet.
I actually sent them a message to ask them who was on their team, and I never got a response, so I'm unsure of that that answer.
I don't know if it's their A team because they're all fishing tournaments, right?
Sure they are. Right. On the road.
Sure they are.
Yeah, so that might not help us a little bit because I mean the last World Championship in Mexico they had a pretty stacked
the
team.
dream team.
Yeah.
Well, I can't really think like that. It really didn't help the least with the.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about
I just saw clips of it.
It was incredible.
It was
incredible.
I was at Boston Pizza screaming at the TV during Marley's surprise party.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
we all watched that together. It was pretty cool.
Hey, that goalie, the Zamboni guy. Is he actually still playing a little bit of hockey on the side or not?
He practices as the third Leaf goalie from time to time. Like when they need somebody to shoot putt. Yeah.
He sits in.
He sits in.
He's 42 years old, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with
He's never.
Did he make many saves?
He did. He shut him down in the third.
Yep.
And he's never played anything higher than double B hockey.
That is such a cool story. I mean, not so cool for the Leafs, but very cool story.
I've got a question here. Do you have a stash somewhere at the Izumi compound of pork trailers?
At the office or some? Would you like some?
I would. They're a hot commodity. They're worth money these days.
Okay,
like
well,
there's
then
a
we'll
black.
have to work out the
he's going to sell them to you.
There's like a black market. I know the mini versions are really easy to find, but the full on like big chunks.
No, these aren't Uncle Josh. These are the Strike King pork chunks.
I'm not that picky.
Okay,
he'll eat anything.
Next time I might not make it to the office now because I'm gonna leave Thursday morning, drive down Florida. But because I left a boat there as an excuse to go
Can Sean and I
one of the 7 or
bringing it back, and I left it down near the pits at the Stream Song Resort. I just decided to leave it, and so I'm going back. But I will look when I'm back from Florida for your pork chunks.
That would be amazing.
They might be just pork dust in jars right now.
If you had a couple of those, Dave Barristow might let me hunt his property this year.
Okay, well, listen, if I've got some, you can have them because I, don't use pork, and I didn't even realize that they were a hot commodity.
They are a hot commodity.
I got on this internet machine more. They say I'm out in the outdoors too much.
Bob's probably sitting on millions of dollars of stuff he doesn't know about, like in the back room under the dust.
Guaranteed.
Yeah,
lion lures,
wiggle warts from the 80s.
If I spin this long enough, I'll be a collectible.
Well, before we let Bob go, we started a new segment here with Mark Hunted, Rapid Fire.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
Bob?
Here we go. Okay, you got
to explain the rules.
You've seen it with the Johnsons, I'm sure. So you have limited answers. Your answers has to be one of the Izumis.
Any of them.
Any of the Zumis.
Oh, okay.
It can be Darren, Wayne, Mariko, whatever. Yourself.
Anybody.
Okay?
Okay. Yep.
All right, I got to take my glasses off because I'm vintage.
So after we're done this, there's going to be some pissed off clan, is it?
No. It's all family friendly, buddy. Okay, who's always late?
Bob.
Who eats the most candy?
Bob.
Who's the best cook?
Oh boy.
You want to sleep on the couch?
My sister Lynn.
Oh.
Who gets recognized more?
Good question, because I've been with my sister before and my nephew, and they'll get recognized before I am with, like, my sister retired, but she's a doctor. she'll have patients come up to her in Kingston who are from Ancaster and say, "Oh, Dr. Izumi, how are you?" And I'll be standing by her, and they don't even look at me. So,
Okay, you know what?
We're walking down in New York City, in Little Italy, with my nephew, who's a lawyer, in Hamilton, and a guy says, Sam Nash? And it's a kid that he went to school with, and the kid didn't even look at me. And this is like, a few years ago. So that happens all the time. So,
Okay,
yeah.
this question's not on there, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Anybody ever walk up to you and say, "Hey, there's Dave Chong"?
This week, or do you mean today? I saw Dave Chong at Andy's show at the Spring Fishing and Boat Show the other day, and hell, I thought he was me. One Dave Chong story. When the kids were little, of course, Sandy brought the kids to all the tournaments, back in the early years, right?
Yeah.
And it was one of the Canadian Opens or the Classic in Kingston when they had the weigh-in downtown Kingston, right? And it was right in the park. It was so cool, and it was a big stage there. And this guy is standing there with his tournament shirt, watching the weigh-in, one of the competitors, and my daughter, who was, probably 2 or 3 at the time, probably 3, she's with her mom, Sandy, and she goes running up, and all of a sudden grabs this guy's leg, and he turns around, and it's Dave Chong. She thought it was me. My own daughter thought Dave was me. I'm so glad he's so nice, though, because he could really screw me over, because he gets asked a lot. Apparently, I asked him this years ago, and he said all the time, he gets asked to do autographs. And people be talking to him on docks and stuff. And they'll say, can I get your autograph? And he'll sign Dave Chong on it, right? And they think he's me, and then he signs Dave. But I will say maybe he's the one that caught that 10-pounder on Seymour.
There you go. Okay, who has the most rods?
Bob, for sure.
Who brings too much gear?
I'm looking at some right now that just came in.
Who brings too much gear for a day on the water?
Always me. Wayne always, if Wayne's fishing with me, he's always borrowing stuff from me. It's my fishing rods when he's got like 15 of them there.
Who's most likely to go Ike when they lose a fish?
We're all pretty mellow about that.
Yeah?
I don't know if anybody does. We don't get too excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even get really, really disturbed about it too much. Yeah, you kind of just roll with the punches.
Who's the boat launching champion?
Well, I do have one about boat loading that is, I'm pretty darn good at it. but one time, Dwayne Zamet at Extreme, we're at a charity tournament that Gary O'Neill was running on Sparrow Lake. And he's helping me. He backs my truck in, and I roar my Ranger up, and I hit it a little hard, and I missed the rubber, the stopper.
The stopper, yeah.
And I put it off the side, and the bolt sticking out. I just put a gouge.
No.
And he's like shocked, right? And load it, and he pulls me up. I just start putting straps on that. I didn't even go up front and look at it because my ADD kicks in, and I forgot I did it by the time he pulled it out. And to this day, he reminds me because he's Mr. Clean, right? Everything's got to be perfect, laid out and clean, everything. And he still reminds me to this day about, I remember when you scratched the heck out of your boat, you didn't even look at it. And I said, well, there's nothing I could do about it. It was already done, so it's time to move on. But anyway, that's the way it goes.
Okay, who's the social butterfly?
I'm probably the one, but I think it's because I'm in the business, and Wayne's ringing through right now. Actually, calling me tonight. But anyway, it's probably because in the early years of my career, I knew that it was a PR type job, so I've got to just keep talking and keep smiling, and I meet all kinds of people, and 99.999% of them are super nice people. But every now and then you meet one that, wants to challenge you or that. And I'm talking about maybe one every 10 years. That's when I really meet one that you go, oh, are you kidding me? And my buddy from Oklahoma, Dave Smith, who used to fish the elites in the FLW, told me how to handle those people probably 20 years ago. He said, smother them with niceness. And so I remember I was gassing up over at the corner here in Milton one day, probably 10 years ago, and I'm gassing up. That was probably the last one I met. I'm not going to say the word, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
one
yeah,
of those
yeah.
guys that wants to get in your face. But
Yeah.
I'm gassing up. He's gassing up, young guy, and he looks over and he says, "Yeah, I catch a lot bigger fish than you." I go, "Oh, that's cool. That's pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's neat." And then he said, "Yeah, I catch a lot of big ones." He's trying to get me going.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know what I said to him? I said, "Do you fish tournaments?" And he goes, "No." And I said, "You should. You'll win a ton of money if you're catching a lot of big fish." And at the end of the few-minute conversation, after we both finished, he came over and shook my hand and was very happy, you
Yeah.
know. But
Nice.
but the funny thing is I don't meet a lot of bad people, and that's one thing I like about this fishing industry with all you guys
Yeah.
there in the studio and everybody in this whole gig, both in the industry and just people that love to fish, is we have a good time, and that's why we fish,
That's
and we
right,
enjoy being in the outdoors. And that's what I love about the business. It's not, I really realized on Manitoulin probably this trip more than ever. It's really the fish are secondary. It's the people.
Yep,
It's
100%.
the people you meet. And it's the people that make the memories and the life. And yeah, catching a big fish is a nice memory, but you know, after a while, it's not as important as your friends, family, your acquaintances, whatever it is. It's more important.
It is-
So that's probably, as I've got older, I've realized that you have bad tournaments. You don't catch as many big fish when you're filming a show or whatever it is. Who cares? I mean, that's just a bump in the road, but it's just, having a fun life and a good life. And I think that's what we all strive for. You know?
Absolutely.
Okay, who would you call first after catching your new personal best?
Well, I would first take a picture of it, right? And I would text it to several people. And I have to admit now, with, texting and good phones and cameras, it's always fun to rub it in and sort of text it to a handful of people. Wayne is usually the last.
Yeah.
He's so friggin' jealous. Because I fish a lot more than Wayne, right?
Yeah.
And he works a lot more because he's got, Tim Hortons, and he's got a fish farm, and he's got a fertilizer business. He's got all these businesses because he's very business driven, and I'm not. I mean, I like business, but I don't love it.
We actually had that
He
conversation when I was at your office, and I texted you and said it must be nice to have Wayne working, and he was waving to me from the window.
Yeah,
you told me you were
here's the thing.
fishing.
Wayne works hard, but he plays hard too. He gets a lot of fishing and golfing and hunting in, but he doesn't even tell staff, right? So he'll be gone.
Oh,
on a
he's that
trip,
guy.
and nobody knows where he's at. And then I'll find out through our controller or something. She'll say, "Oh yeah, he's in Saskatchewan goose hunting this week," but he doesn't tell anybody till you catch him, right? But he does like business, and I will say that that's what his deal is more than anything. He loves business, but don't kid yourself, he gets out. But I usually don't text him because then I know that he's got 8,000 questions. He wants to know what way was the wind blowing, what was the water color, were the leaves moving, were the birds chirping. I mean, he's got 8,000 questions when you catch a fish because he's Mr. Detail on that stuff. And it's always like, because he's very much in tune with things. Like, he's a good hunter, good angler, and he wants to know everything, right, on how it happened.
Yep.
So that's why I don't text him, because I'm going to get drilled.
That's awesome.
And for the last question, this is probably a really fitting question here. Who tells the longest stories?
Thanks. You caught me.
I should have told you,
Yeah,
this is a one word
Yeah.
answer. Rapid fire.
Why didn't you remind me? I forgot. My ADD said
No, it was
that.
perfect, Bob. We got to learn a lot more about you there, and so got some really cool
Yes.
stories out of that. So that was amazing.
Hey, nice talking to you guys. As
Thank you
always.
so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on the show, and Ian, keep all these guys straight.
I will do
okay?
my best.
You guys aren't partying as much as when the boys were in town.
No, we're trying to behave.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your 100th show.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very
all the
much.
best to you guys. And guess what? With all the wonderful life that I lead, I'm going to go eat my dinner now. and it's a McDonald's chicken wrap that I picked up after I got the snow bear.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's room temperature now. It should be perfect for eating.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for doing this, Bob. We greatly appreciate it.
Can't wait to see you guys on the water, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank
See you, my man.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Care.
Isn't that awesome?
That's amazing.
I love that guy.
He's such a beauty of a man.
He is.
Like,
Probably the nicest guy in Canadian fishing. I've never heard him be negative. I don't think.
I've learned an
ever.
absolute ton in the short. I ran into him twice in like weigh-ins. I got to speak to him on the phone a bunch of times. Fishing shows. He always has the best advice for me when I need that advice. And when we were speaking about what really matters in all this, Bob Izumi's laid some good ones out for me.
37 years of experience, isn't that what he said?
37
For
years
sure.
of the TV show.
The thing
TV
that
show.
I've
There you
noticed from speaking to him, he remembers everybody's names. He tells you Bob tells you stories.
Yeah.
He remembers everything about everyone.
It's true. He's got a memory like an elephant.
It's unbelievable.
Do you think he's been on TV longer than Bob Barker was?
No.
No?
Bob Barker
What's
was
he
on
at?
since World War One. The other thing I noticed, I posted a picture today on Instagram of Bob and I. Every time I see Bob, I make sure we get a picture together. I got a bunch of us weighing in fish in line. And when I was getting the picture, I waited for him to speak to some people in line who were asking for autographs. And I noticed how much he asked them questions while they were standing there, what they did for a living, what they enjoy doing, and he's really engaged. Yeah. And he doesn't need to be, but he is. Yeah. He's an absolute beautiful man. He is. Yeah, I don't care who you are. If you're
He should be on a dollar bill.
If you're a Canadian person who likes to fish, it's probably because of that guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially from our generation, and do you know what I mean? Do you remember going
Definitely the most recognizable. For
Do you remember going catfishing and us pretending we were Bob and just throwing hook, on like catching mudcats on the river, and we would just set hook as hard as we could, like we were bass fishing.
Did you guys do that? Like we used to play hockey as a kids. Like, I'm Wayne Gretzky. I'm Daryl Sittler. Did you go?
Oh yeah,
guys go out
that's
on the
all
lake
we
and
did.
go, I'm Bob Izumi.
When we were kids, that's all we did was fish. We would go and catch chub. Do you remember going and catch chubs?
Yeah, there was like a tree at the creek we fished.
Yeah.
And we would see who can get one out of the farthest part of like the log jam or the tree.
Do you remember
Way in back.
the two slabs in the hole across from your parents?
Yeah.
And it would load right up on the current break. Yep. Bob is speaking 100%. I didn't really learn to enjoy the outdoors as much as I do now until I realized that this wasn't about winning tournaments or catching giant fish. It's a bonus or shooting beer. Yeah,
Talk
go ahead.
amongst yourselves.
We're going to have a break anyway. But it really is, like Bob was saying, down to the people you meet and the people you spend time with and the things you do.
That was quick.
Too late.
Yeah. Look, before we go on our break, everybody stick around after the break. We got the guys live from Mexico, Team Canada down there.
We
We're
have
gonna bring 'em
more.
on.
Yes.
Oh,
more.
And I just wanted to apologize. There was some questions that came out, but we didn't think we were going to have Bob for that long.
No, the plan was 15
I
minutes.
apologize to all the viewers that did have questions. We weren't.
Yeah,
sure
I'm
that
really.
we were
We
gonna have that much
thought we
time.
were supposed to have Bob for 15 minutes.
You know what? Send all your questions to Laker272.
S&M McCall.
CCAUL at gmail.com.
Woody, do we got something to run for the break?
Yeah, we can run a little something here.
Oh, beauty.
You want to go?
I'll be running. I sure do.
Mike Carnegie is a financial advisor at Northstone Wealth, providing insurance solutions to protect you and your family. Investment solutions for all your needs, like your kids' education and your retirement. Get good advice from a good guy and also a fellow angler and trusted member of the FearFishing family.
Hi, I'm Mike Carnegie. If you want a little direction, give me a shout. 905-925-0663. See you on the water.
the Jack Links people find me. Look at this. Look at all the Jack Links. Just arrived on the water, loaded up for the rest of summer. Cases and cases of Jack Links beef jerky. I think we're ready for a little fall fishing. Nothing better than jerky and fishing. Mr. McCall's the guy who set this all up. Harry, you want to put this in the box of the truck? I brought a GT just in case. You never know. We are on the road. We'll give you the full update on how this happens when we get there. It's dark, Mark. Woo. We're going to go wreck 'em and break 'em.
Let's go wreck 'em.
We have made it to... Sean, fill us in. You set this all up.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah, man.
We're going to get the info. We got to get our gear on.
Yeah, Brecon Point Ice Hut Rentals.
Yes, we are going out with them today.
Yep.
We just had somebody come over and tell us that the place is on fire.
Oh, yeah.
We got to get some gear on and find our...
We need that.
Find the plan. We need the plan, yeah. Mark, we've had some rough ice fishing adventures over the years,
We've
eh?
had a lot of fun.
We've had a lot of fun.
At the end of the day, that's what it's about.
We're going to catch some fish today, boys. Let's get dressed, and then we can talk. It's freezing. It's cold. What's up?
What's up?
You want to fill us in on what we're doing today?
Yeah, so we're out here at Brecon Point Ice Rentals, and this is their first year in business.
Yep.
There's two partners, Aaron and Jeff, and they've obviously got their wives and stuff helping out. And this place is super cool. You come up here, all their huts are 8x8.
You can get everything you need when you get here.
Yeah, if you forget
your gloves.
Like they've got all kinds of stuff. So if you forget it, it looks like they got it.
So we don't do a ton of ice fishing, but they were nice enough to take us out for the day.
Oh yeah,
for we can fit a day of fishing in.
Yeah.
Are you guys pumped?
Thank God, our first day on the
Our
hard
first
water.
day ice fishing. Mark, you gonna catch some fish?
I hope so, because there's nothing better than a whitefish.
We've heard that it's on fire out there. It's on fire.
Yeah, whitefish are supposed to be the fish to eat. I don't really eat fish, so if I'm gonna try one.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Are you pumped?
Oh yeah.
Let's get out there.
You know what I'm excited for?
Lay on and off the water. Now, here's your host, Ian West.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Just had the one and only Bob Izumi on the show. What a treat that was.
What an amazing gentleman. Thank you very much, Bob.
We're moving on to some big
words.
Anybody's got questions, comments, I'm sorry that we didn't get to it with Mr. Izumi, but loading up another one. If you got any questions, comments for us, we're going to do an interview with the entire team, Sean.
Yeah, I think the entire team's going to be there. I know we're going to get a hold of Brian Bickle 100%.
So we are going to do some questions and comments. If you have any for us after, if you're listening on to iTunes, make sure you hit that subscribe. Is that what we call it, Amber?
Yes. And the little bell.
And hit the little bell on the
So you
YouTube.
don't miss one.
Hit the like button on the Facebook and the share button.
And rate and review
On iTunes.
Yes, please.
Only 5, though.
Yes.
If you're going to do it 4, just move along.
Keep scrolling.
Keep scrolling. You guys have fun with the Izumi?
Oh, yeah, it was great.
He's a beauty, eh?
Awesome.
Man, that guy is just...
He gave away a lot
the
of his
stories
fishing
that
spots.
man has.
He's giving out fishing spots.
He's giving out pork.
I know I'm going to Manitoulin.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I've been there before, and that is a beautiful part of Ontario. Like an absolute gem of a spot.
Road trip.
Well, yeah, I know this year that we're going to focus a little more on fun fishing and stuff, and I think 100% that's going to be one of our trips.
Yeah. We're not
You
doing.
guys in?
We're not doing.
I'm gonna go steelhead.
See?
Any of.
In the
Yeah,
middle
we
of
should
summer?
do that. Eh? We should do it like an epic steelhead adventure.
That'd be sick.
Like load up a car. Just we. You know what we should do? I don't know when it's really good, but we should do that Superior brook trout trap.
Like in the Nipigon,
Yeah,
or for the coasters,
the coasters.
like the lake ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
It's
river fish
nice
in the
there.
mouth. Yeah,
I don't know.
We're
what you're
gonna do
talking
more
about,
adventure.
but That's kind of French to me.
like huge, like 6-7 pound brook trout. Right out
Yeah?
of the
Oh,
Superior.
yeah.
Like huge brook trout river fishing for giant brook trout.
All right, I'll
Yeah,
give
that'd
it
be
a
cool.
go.
But this
Beautiful
year,
fish.
for sure, I guess we haven't announced this to everybody. I did put something on my Instagram, but less tournaments, and there's going to be more adventures in 2020.
Big time.
More, getting away from that scene because everybody's been doing it for so long, and new stuff.
Need a
Yeah, I
break.
got a question. If we go on this brook thing, can I wear rubber pants?
Oh yeah,
You have to.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I'm hoping they wear rubber
I'm in.
pants down at the Classic. We're sharing a bed.
Yeah, we are. Big spoon.
Wow.
Big spoon.
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay.
God, we're doing this. We're
Yeah,
really
we are.
doing this.
we got questions, comments. As soon as we're done this interview, we're going to get to them all. You got any questions there lined up for us when we're done?
I have not gone all the way back.
Okay. Will you work on that? Are you ready?
Yeah, give him a call.
Let's do it. We're calling Mexico.
Yeah.
El speaker.
You got that mic over there?
Yep.
Okay.
Is it working?
How come it's not ringing?
Oh
Steven-
yeah, that's Mexico.
That's Mexico.
Yellow.
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 How's it going?
What's going on?
We are here doing the FearFishing Experiment. You are live for show 100.
Do you have the right number?
Yeah.
Can you imagine we called the wrong number?
Oh, God.
Who we got on the line first?
That's Brian.
So I thought it was Brian. How's it going, my man?
Oh, great.
You guys got out for your first day of practice today. You got into Mexico yesterday. How'd you make out?
We got in about 4. You guys can still talk. You don't have to. We got here about 4. We got in the lake for an hour. We checked it out. It was windy. There's a big lake, kind of like Simcoe. But we're excited. We're super excited. We got down here and looking forward to it.
So you got a pretty stock team together down there this year. You got guys like Phil Haggerty, Robert McMillan, you got Joe Ford, who's your partner, and you got Phil Curtis, Brett Valerie, Peter Savoya, and Jeff McGee.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. How many boats do you guys have out on the water this week for practice, Brian?
We got 4. So there's going to be 7 of us going out. Obviously, Joe's going to be meeting us later, but the boys are itching to get out there. It's 2 days of travel to get here, and it's looking good.
So did everything show up? Everybody got their luggage, rods, tackle?
Nothing broke. Everything came. Everything's lining up. Our people that are helping us out here have been great, and we're looking forward to get out there early and put a good days of water and take this lake down. And hopefully we can run a good pattern or patterns to, ultimately, do really well. We're super excited. It's, obviously it's February. Back home it's cold. We're in shorts and t-shirts, flip-flops, and in the 30s here. So not to rub it in the wound, but, it's been great.
Are the fish pre-spawn, spawning, post-spawn? What's going on down there?
So I don't know. There's a cold front coming up, I think, on Wednesday. I think they're in and out. We've been talking about them to the guys, and we just poked around. There's a lot of bush, a lot of trees. I caught my first Mexican bass tonight, so it was pretty cool. It was only a pound, but nothing to brag about there. But overall, it's, we don't know. We'll figure it out. There's only so many stages they can be in, and we have time to do it.
Nice.
That's awesome. As a former Carolina Hurricane, how'd you feel about Saturday's game?
Oh, yeah, that was super neat. That was the 42-year-old Zamboni drive.
Yeah.
We did that a couple years ago, 3 years ago in Chicago. We had a call in our accountant from a local wherever, and he came in and stole the show. And now this guy, he was a little shaky in the second. Now, see what he did in the third, and obviously the Hurricanes played really well. But I know he's been blowing up everywhere back home, and it's kind of neat to see that the guy's got a shot, right? It's super
Yeah,
cool.
that is super cool. It was quite the story. Other than I'm a Leafs fan, and this didn't help us at all.
At all.
At all. Not at all.
This will be talked forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
So you guys are down there for you got another 3 days of practice on your own practice time before official practice starts. Is that right?
That is correct. Yep. We came down there to just, like any water, you want to learn it, and you want to not show up with a day and just go at it. You need at least a couple days with this big bottle of water to break it down. And I think, the group we have here that, good sticks that can definitely do it.
So is it like a flooded reservoir lake, a lot of flooded timber?
So it's funny, we pulled up the boat ramp and the water's 25 feet low.
Oh,
so
25 feet low is low.
25 feet low, and
wow.
I think that helps us. It makes the lake a lot smaller. You can pinpoint things a lot easier. But overall, this is a trip of a lifetime. So we've passed many Tim Hortons and Mexico, so it's kind of neat that we have some home coffee in the background. So.
Yeah, you see the Tim Hortons Monterey.
That's awesome.
Have you, I know at these kind of events, there's a lot of dock talk going on. How much is it going to take a day to pull off a win here in weight?
Sorry, I missed that. What did you say?
I know there's a lot of dock talk at these kind of events. How much weight per day of the event is it going to take to win this?
Oh, I haven't really talked about it, but obviously Mexico and the big bass live here, and we've seen YouTube clips and pictures, and there's a chance of a fish of a lifetime to double digits to 13, 14 pounds in any cast. There's a lot of fish. I think we need to get little through the little ones to get the big ones.
Yep.
But it could be, I think, if we get 20 to 25 a day, I think we'll stay in the hunt and we'll see what all pans out.
I got a really good question. I had a chance to spend a little bit of time with Phil Haggerty, one of my favorite fishing guys in the industry, last weekend. And Phil had said that he spent around $1,000 on tackle to take with him on this trip. Who on the team has spent the most money on tackle?
Oh, I don't know. I think Pete, but I think about 1,000 pounds of plastic. But we definitely overpacked for the trip. But you can be never, over prepared to see what's happening, and it's a cool gig. Obviously, Phil's a big smallmouth guy, and this is kind of out of his element, so he's gonna enjoy it, and we have a lot of good sticks that can, help and for me too. It's a learning experience. This is something that's nothing that I've been used to, and I've been out to fish around the world, but this is something different, definitely.
Do you are you nervous, or do you think that your previous career is helped you in the fishing world of this is no big deal, I'm just going to go do my jam?
Yeah, I think my blood level keeps it pretty low. I don't really get stressed out too much. I played Game 7 Stanley Cup games. That was my profession. Now it's just a fun thing that I've took up over my career, and now I'm retired. I'm enjoying it more and doing a lot more. I'm not stressing about the little things, just to have fun with good people and good company out here, and that's what it's all about. And hopefully we make some good memories and do what we came here to do.
Now, I've been blessed enough to have a day out on the water with you, and to watch you fish a dock is something else. Are there any docks down there?
No, all the docks are probably 20 feet on the shore. There's not many docks right now.
Right, with 25 feet low.
There's a lot of timber, very intimidated. You get the kids caught up, and then there's unlimited bushes and trees that you can just flip. And I think I need to do something that's to be out of my comfort zone and fish deep and learn, willing to learn and to see what what we can hook up with.
That's awesome.
So is the water staying level at like 25 down, or is it keep like it's going down more, or raising, or stable, or what's the water like?
There's a little bit of rain coming. I don't think they're dropping it too much. I don't know how much more you can drop it, because going out of the boat ramp we're hitting bottom. It's something that I've never seen before. It's super cool. It took us 6 hours or whatever to fly here with connecting flight, and then the guy said it took 3.5, but it took us 8 hours to get down to the lake. But to see the culture and the mountains and things, it's definitely cool. And the people who've been here have been awesome to us.
Have you had any of the local food yet that you fell in love with?
Oh, I've had tacos and tacos. I think the only thing I've ate so far. So we're adapting. I haven't ran to the throwing yet too bad, but
be wary of the green sauce.
we went to Costco. We did a huge milk run there to fill up our fridge and get us ready for this week.
So that's funny, because you said a milk run, and what I seen was a truckload of beer.
Yeah, there were a couple cases of Corona, definitely. Cheaper than water, so we had to buy that more than water.
There you go.
There you go. Cheaper than water.
Well, I want to wish you all the best down there, Brian, to you and the rest of the team. Hopefully, when you're back home at some time over the year, we'll get you in studio here to sit down and talk to us more about how you got into fishing, and how all the charity work you do and everything else you do. But best of luck down there in Mexico. I hope you have a blast and you guys all make a ton of memories and catch some big largemouth.
Yeah, good luck to you and the boys, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it for having me on, and it should be fun. Go Canada, right?
Go Canada.
Bring home that goal, buddy.
Awesome.
Okay, pal. We'll talk to you
Thanks,
later.
Pickle.
Yeah.
Later, bro.
Talking big bass, you guys see the 49-pound
bag that come in?
Yeah.
49-pound bag.
Disgusting.
Yeah, 49-pound stinger.
What lake was that on?
Rayborn.
Rayborn.
Yeah, Texas Lake.
Yeah. And the next team was 30 pounds. You imagine with 30 pounds and coming in.
And we
find
were
out you
talking
lost
about this. That you'd
by
think you were
19 pounds.
You would think that you were sitting pretty good with a 30-pound bag.
For real.
And to come in to learn that you just lost by 19 pounds.
I think
You weren't even close.
I think for this deal down there that they're fishing the Pan American, I think it's going to take 23 pounds a day to pull off a gold medal down there.
Now, 23 pounds a day. Anybody who's a tournament angler, you can add up to there you can catch a 10-pounder.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right?
You can catch
So
14.
There's a ton of ways to catch 17 pounds, right? Do you get what I'm saying? You can catch a 5, a 4, and some dinks.
There's a
you
lot
get
of
whole
small
bunch
fish there too.
A whole bunch of high threes will add up real quick too. You fished Mexico.
Yes.
Are you looking for like a kicker and 4 3-pounders? Are you looking for like 5 5s? Are you looking for 5 4s? Are you looking for 3, 4? Like, what are you looking for in a day out there?
Well, see, for us down there, it was a brand new lake. We hadn't fished it too much. Everything was new to us. We hadn't had long on the water. And basically what it came down to is we were looking for 5 bites a day. And because
hoping one was giant.
Yeah, you hope for one of those giants out there. And I'll tell you, there was a lot of giants brought in. Scott Martin on day 1, they brought in a 35-pound bag that just blew us all away. Like the big ones are out there. They've got giant fish in those lakes down there, and they're really untapped resources for everybody going down there. And what Mexico's trying to do, they're trying to show that they have these amazing fisheries at the disposal of their fingertips. Like, they're right there, and it's safe to go down there and fish these places. Like, they're setting up all these resorts all around them now. And I've been down there. It's beautiful to go down there and see that kind of culture. Right, because you get into like the real Mexico. It's not like you're going to Cancun. Right, you're going to see
Mexico,
meet the real people, see the real restaurants, see how they really live, and it's awesome.
I really hope we can get. I chat with Becco on Instagram all the time, and I really hope that at some point we can get him in studio to come chat about fishing.
I'm sure
hockey,
that we could pick him up on the way through one day.
Yeah. And he does a ton of charity work for people, and he's a super, super great guy. And it's pretty cool that we have somebody who's a Stanley Cup champion and a fisherman.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I think that a lot of people don't know that how into fishing Brian is.
Right.
He's one heck of a stick, too.
Yeah.
He's a hammer.
Yeah, I'll tell you when if you come up behind him and he's fishing docks, don't even
good
bother.
luck. Yeah,
He's not leaving anything behind. There's nothing.
Amber, do we got any questions, comments, anything good, juicy? Sean, you got
any rumors?
Juicy.
Any rumors? I can't believe Bob didn't catch that 10-pounder. Do you remember that day?
I do.
Are we crushing that
weed bet,
rumor right now?
That weed bed's not there anymore either.
It's not?
No.
I haven't been there.
I tried it a couple of. It's not there. It is a non-existent weed bet. But back in the day, it was good, eh?
I got a question here on Facebook from Gino Mimone. He wants to know, has anyone fished Black Donald Lake near Bon Echo? He's heading there in July.
No.
I
have not.
No,
It's not good.
no. That's
really?
Yeah.
You fished it?
Yeah.
And
It was kind of tough.
Yeah.
But it was also really, it was October when I went.
Oh.
Yeah.
the Bon Echo. So I'm guessing that's
That's
like
a tour.
northern rocky kind of deal.
Yeah, it's
Very rocky.
deep and clear.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about how
3 lakes too, I think, connected.
we were going to do a lot of travel fishing adventures. You've done that the last year.
Yeah, last year I went a bunch of places. French River, never been there before.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was fun.
Did you get some big ones?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
To ride your
How do they
I was going
fish?
to say, did you ride your bike in the sunset with a rod on your back?
No, I
That'd
didn't.
be him.
I took the tinner.
Skateboard in a
Had a lot of
tin
big fish,
boat.
but- yeah.
In Oshawa, about 4 or 5 years ago, I saw Harley pulling like a 10-foot aluminum boat on a trailer.
I believe that. It's Oshawa.
I swear. I swear to God, I couldn't believe.
And then he flipped it over and then lived in it.
No.
Yeah.
Do you do those lakes fish the same as our lakes down here?
Yeah,
Can you throw out a flipping jig and get to work?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
I found French River was kind of disappointing because I heard it had tons of largemouth in it and they were hard to find.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same experience on the French.
Yeah?
Lots of smallies.
Tons, polluted with smallies.
Big smallies?
And pike. No, I didn't get any big ones.
I kind of I get choked up when I go to a lake and you catch a whole bunch of 15-inch smallies.
Yeah.
Remember where did we go that time? Remember when we went way up north and I caught that one that was super shallow on the popper?
Yeah, Head Lake.
Head Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was disappointment.
That was good. I fished thousands of miles of back bays and then I hit one that was really good. And it was all big fish. They're all 4s.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
But it was only the one day I hit them. That was it.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that kind of fishing?
I do. It's fun.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's just hard because I'm in a tinner, a tiller.
Yeah.
No trolling motor.
Not
right?
this year,
Yeah, but
though.
aren't you building a boat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that going?
How's that? It's in his front lawn.
Yeah, non-existent.
So not so good. You got a garage there, but
And I had a bunch of jobs to do though at home.
Yeah.
So I had to pull it out, and then it was job after job after job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's been
The
on the
struggle
back
is
burner.
real.
Yeah.
It is a
hustle.
It is a hustle. I need new seats for my boat. Anybody out there
Yeah.
looking for those? You got anything for us?
Yes, I have.
Whoa.
Chris Georgiev
Ooh,
says he's never fished or even been to the Kawarthas, and he'd love to come up. Then he asked if pigeon is the go-to to target muskie and bass.
No. If I was, you know what? If I was going to target muskie, I think on a Kawartha Lake would be sturgeon.
No, I go to balsam.
Sturgeon.
Remember that fish? Yeah. No, remember that fish last spring? Who was I with? You and Tataska. We're early season pike fishing, right? Remember when we saw the 50-incher?
Yeah.
So you remember there's the reeds? So there's a creek. We were there early season.
I remember. Know what you're talking about.
We're there early season pike fishing, right? Yep. So we didn't have any rods out, and I said, I know there's a creek here. Let's just go up there and see what's up there. We're not. We weren't even. High. The water is crazy high.
The water was high.
Remember, you couldn't get in there.
Yep.
So we go in there and trolling motor on 100%, just like to have a quick look. Mm-hmm. There was so many giants.
Jurassic Park.
Giant.
Yeah.
Muskies
really,
in there.
Insane.
It was not funny.
Yeah.
At least 10.
Yeah.
Over 48 inches.
Easy.
Really,
Like just
balsam. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they were looking at us like, what are you guys doing in here? We were like, we were just leaving.
All my biggest ones will come in balsam.
Yeah,
for sure.
That, like, I'm telling you.
I'm going to eat this cookie.
Possibly.
I want one.
You want one?
Yeah, I do.
And
Here you go.
And I lost Jenga.
That was me.
Oh.
We should eat those cookies.
That was
but there was between 10 and 15 giants.
Yeah, there was big fish.
And there was one there who was as round as Sean McCall from head to tail.
I'm going to kick you right in the dick.
A giant. So they're in there. If I was going to go to any of the Kawartha Lakes looking for a giant muskie, it'd be balsam. If you go to sturgeon, you'll catch more. They just won't be as big.
No, I've seen big ones.
Not like what we saw.
Maybe not.
Freaks of nature in 2 feet of water.
Pigeons never let us down, though.
It was a crazy
Pigeons, but we never caught a huge one. We got a double header.
We saw
a couple of huge ones. But remember when we got the double header muskies?
Yeah, double header muskies.
Double header muskies.
Mark Hunter.
Is that the only question we got, honey? Look at her just.
How was Marley's boat build? I'm sorry, I'm eating cookie.
Oh, yeah. How's it going?
That's slow. Non-existent right now.
How deep are you going into this boat?
How deep?
Are you gonna like gut it?
It's already gutted right now. So rebuilding decks.
Yeah.
Are you using the marine grade plywood when you rebuild your deck?
No, I'm using aluminum.
Whoa.
Aluminum
He's
sheet.
money back.
Wow, I can't believe you could say that. Let alone build with it.
Really?
Yeah, he can't say
Aluminum.
No, it's actually like
soft metal.
It's cheaper.
Really?
Marine ply. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, marine plywood's expensive. It's like $80 a sheet.
Yeah, sheet.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
what are you
$80
building? Is it like an old bass boat? Or?
It's an old Fisher 18-footer. It's like
a deep V?
It's a shallow V.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's full bass boat style.
Yeah.
Just not like a flat bottom.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. How dry is that cookie right now? It looks pretty dry.
We got these last week, right?
We did get these last
Actually,
week.
they've done really well.
They have.
They're actually very tasty still.
Other than the mold around the side, delicious.
They were fresh last week, Sean.
I heard you have to line up in that place like on a Saturday morning at like 6.
True story.
Yeah,
For the
for
donuts?
donuts?
Yeah.
No, you have to line up at like 9:30. There's an at the intersection where my salon is. There's a
Wait.
traffic jam every single Saturday
Jason,
morning.
It's crazy.
You should open a thing like a little
Shout
cart.
out to Jason Detman who just sent me a
Curb-
video.
Curb cuts.
Curb cuts?
Curb cuts. Well,
What
people
about
are in line.
You should buy the donuts and then sell them out of your store early.
They sell out before I even get back there because I tell all my clients, "Oh, you gotta go get some donuts. You gotta go get some donuts." I go back there at like 11:30, gone, everything.
Gone.
Sometimes 10 minutes.
Adios.
Crazy.
Yeah, they sell out in 10 minutes sometimes.
You should start making donuts out of the salon.
Yeah, I should.
Sell salon donuts.
Salon donuts. I don't know if people
hair
have
in
hair in their donuts.
FearFishing one. Any more?
Somebody asked, Brian Skur asked where they can watch the Pan Am fishing tournament.
Oh, good question.
It should be available on the Canada Bass. If you follow Canada Bass on Facebook, I'm pretty sure that they'll share the links of each day.
At least the weigh-ins.
Yeah, the weigh-ins. You won't be able to watch any fishing live. I don't believe I've never seen them being able to do that there. But the live weigh-ins, 100% you'll be able to watch.
Beauty.
What about the special video we made earlier?
Oh my God, I almost forgot.
Do you want it?
So Craig, my old father,
Your old father,
my old man. We had to get a cold opening done. He's a beauty. What are you gonna roll at?
I could roll that. Yeah.
It is amazing.
Hold on.
He is such a good-hearted old bugger.
And we'll pound back some cookies.
I'm going to share this on social media tomorrow.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. He goes all the way.
You want it?
I want it. Everybody check. If you're still tuned in, this is worth it. Action.
All this and so much more coming up next on FearFishing Experiment. Don't miss it.
Go.
All this and so much more coming up next on FearFishing.
No. Action.
All this and so much more coming up next on the Fear Factor. All this and so much more coming up next on the FearFishing Experiment. Don't miss it.
He's a beauty, eh?
Remember that time we went to Graceland?
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. That was it. He came with us down to Texas when we all went down there to Lake Fork, and then we went on to Houston.
Couldn't
we went
care
to Houston
at
for the classic.
all about the classic
Yep,
or Lake Fork.
Nope, he didn't care. He was just
No.
like, guys, do you think on the way home we can stop at Graceland?
He Googled it as soon as you said that you were going to Houston.
Yeah,
Like
Memphis.
Yeah.
The only thing he cared about on that whole trip were 2 bottles of smuggled whiskey.
Yep.
Mickey's. Right? Remember when we went and had a like drunk fest?
Yep.
Yeah, he left us to drink these smuggled bottles of whiskey, and he cared about going to Graceland. The rest of it was just a washroom.
How's that cookie?
It's really, really dry.
Crunchy. I got this much.
We went up a creek bed, and there must have been hundreds of 2 and 3 pound males, and he wouldn't even get off the seat. Like, he didn't care at all.
No.
He ran the camera for me and Danny McGarry to try to catch this giant one on that smaller lake we went to.
Yep.
Yeah,
Couldn't care at all. All he kept telling us was, I wish you guys would hurry up and catch those so we can go home.
He had fun on the dock at night, though.
He had a
eh?
great
He was
time
at
on
home.
Oh,
there.
did he ever?
Yeah.
Him and
Mikey.
yeah, the crappy masters.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
He was a
Hey?
beauty.
You know what? You know what? My father, I've known him for 37 years now. He finds the project guy, and him and the project guy become like best of friends.
Yeah.
He once went with my mom. My mom is the first female to ever compete in the Sheet Meadow Apprentice competition in Canada. So they went to Nova Scotia. My father found 3 homeless people, and they went every morning. As long as they would go to the docks to watch the seals, Craig would take them out for breakfast.
Nice.
Yeah. He hooked them up. He basically spent all their vacation money on helping these homeless people out. When I was a kid, you want to hear a cool story?
So is
Speaking
that why
of the
they
Maple
split
Leaf-
up?
Pardon?
Is that how your parents split up?
Well, no, not really. But when I was a kid, we went to Maple Leaf Gardens, and we came out of the Maple Leaf Gardens. He took us there to see Dominic Hasek play. We came out of Maple Leaf Gardens, and I'll never forget this. And this has run real far in my life. We come out of Maple Leaf Gardens, and it was freezing cold. There was a homeless guy standing on the corner begging for money with like a plaid shirt on. Craig went into Maple Leaf Gardens and bought him a starter winter coat, took it out to him.
Nice.
Yep.
That's solid.
It is solid.
Wow.
Good on
He's
Craig.
a good-hearted man.
What happened to his son?
We haven't
Well,
figured that out
listen.
yet.
Sometimes Craig's nicer to the homeless people than his kids. We got any more questions, comments, or can we wrap this 100th episode of the Fear Fishing Experiment
I
up?
got a few.
All right, let 'em
One
know.
is, how's your new dog?
She is an alien.
Yes,
She is crazy.
crazy.
She has a lot of energy. She's going to work out for bird hunting.
Not much else.
Oh my God.
She likes bacon off the counter.
And eating dash hounds.
Yeah. And Kleenex. She likes to rip Kleenex up.
She does like Kleenex.
A lot.
And licking faces.
And scratching.
And climbing on people.
My puppy decided to eat a case of water.
Really?
Yeah. Had water bottles all over,
Oh.
water everywhere.
A case of water.
Like the case of water was sitting there, and he dragged it off and started
No
chewing through
way.
the bottles.
Wow.
Sounds fun.
Some dog that is.
Yeah.
And Stephen Husey, did any of you guys watch Jordan Lee go from last to first in the Pro Bass Tour?
Who? What?
The what? No. No.
I did see he had a good day, I think, on day.
His
Are you
first,
guys-
his
or
first
something like
5 fish went for 32 or 33 pounds, I think, something
Oh,
like
wow.
that.
I haven't watched any of the BPT tour this year.
No?
I tried last year to watch it, and I just can't get into that jam.
No.
There's a lot going on
There is.
that I don't understand.
It's really hard to keep up with it, and if you miss a day or 2 days, you're like I couldn't tell you. I haven't watched any of it.
And it's long. It's like a 6-day thing.
It is.
Yeah.
All you guys should come back to Bass. Be on my fantasy team.
Right?
I got another one.
Really?
Yeah,
You
Orange
can go.
Hushki. What tournament do you think you're going to do the best on next year?
None of them. No.
The club.
Yeah, the clubby. Speaking of clubbies, we went from like 10 people in our club to like 40 something. So no more members. Thank you very much for coming out.
No.
Really appreciate it. I know you'd love to fish against me, but we are full. Is that true, Scott?
I have no idea.
Is that true?
It's not. Come on out and join the Quinny Bass Masters. It just cost you an extra $100.
I got something I want to talk about.
Really?
Yeah, last week we had the spring fishing and boat show.
Yes, we did.
And at the spring fishing and boat show, I got to run the pitching and flipping lanes.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was running the pitching and flipping lanes on the first day, these two girls come up to me with their father, Breland and Jaden Young. Right, they're 13 and 14 years old. These two girls. Okay, they fish CBAF stuff. Right, they've had great success. They go down to the States. They fish the juniors.
Nice.
And what these two girls have done, they've started their own bait company, pouring plastics, called Be My Baits, and they use that company to help support their fishing. Right, they fish all Daiwa products.
Yep.
Right, and like I love these girls' stories so much. I sat there and I talked to them for probably and their dad Rob for probably about 2 hours.
Nice.
Right, and really got to know them personally. Right.
Yep.
And they were like, yeah, we want to try and get some help, some sponsors and stuff, and we'd really like to go and talk to Daiwa. And that night, I went out for dinner with all the guys from Daiwa, and I pulled them aside and I was like, hey, listen, these girls got a great story, and we don't have anything like them on the team, and we need more youth, right? And they were like, bring them in, set it up. So I told the girls, come back on Monday, bring your dad, and go over to the Daiwa booth. And they went over to the Daiwa booth, and now they are the newest members of Daiwa Canada.
Good
That's
work,
great.
Sean.
Nice. Welcome to the team, girls. And welcome.
Yeah.
Good job, Sean.
Yeah, super pumped about that, man.
Awesome.
Super pumped.
And everybody buy one of their baits. Buy two of their baits.
Go to
Support these
Be My
kids.
Baits. Check them out. They've got their own custom. They call it the wiggly worm, right? It's like a stick bait, but it's not straight. It's all wiggly, right? It's board wiggly. It's pretty cool. But
sounds like something you'd throw, Mark.
Oh yeah,
they're going to be sold out tomorrow,
right? But no, it was a pleasure to meet those girls and get to know their story and really kind of.
That's really
try to
cool.
give them a little push,
They were
right?
on the vlog too. Like they got a shout out on the vlog,
Yeah.
and I'd heard a couple things about them throughout the show. It's really cool, and it's really cool to see young ladies participating. in
Exactly. And when they came up, they picked up rods. They started flipping. They're teaching little kids how to flip. And I look at their dad and I'm like, Rob, what's their story? And he's like, okay, here you go. He pulls out his phone and he starts showing me pictures. These girls live on Erie, right?
Yeah.
They fish out of a tenor, right? And they don't mess around. They're jacking giants out there. He's like, here they are here they are here, and there they are holding up giant smallmouth. And I'm like, man, can they teach me how to do
I was
this?
just going to say.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You can learn a few things.
So I'm expecting really good things out of these girls. I'm really, really pumped to watch them blossom, see their future.
You know what I
wish
got
them
Well,
right
well.
best of luck to them.
Yeah.
You know what I have right here?
Is that the new?
That's the brand new Tatula SV that is going to be officially launched at the Bassmaster Classic.
And we have it here.
And we have one, yes.
I do. Daiwa does not know I have it.
It's wrong-handed. Wrong-handed.
I'm pretty excited about this reel. You guys use SVs?
Yes, I do.
Love SVs.
Yeah.
When it comes down to throwing something light and you need to get it a mile away from the boat like a popper
or skipping
under docks, this is where it's at.
Yeah.
So this is a brand new one. I'm super ultra excited to use it this year. I tried it out in the ice and it just didn't work that well. But I know that that's going to melt and this is going to happen.
Are we gonna try fishing Bama?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are. I'm going to bring
keep
this
our
to
streak
Alabama.
Yeah.
Our streak of not catching fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we leave
Except
what?
for Marley and Lisa.
Next week.
They didn't catch them. We didn't see them.
Yeah,
We're like shit.
9 sleeps away or something.
Yeah, we
really?
leave. You guys leave Wednesday.
Wednesday, 6 p.m.
You're on the move.
We're on the move. We're taking Amber, Asen on location, and Danny McGarry.
And Mark and I are going to meet Lawrence at the airport.
Yeah.
And we're on the move.
Who's Lawrence?
Lawrence is actually a guy I met at the Spring Fishing and Boat Show. Him and his girlfriend Sunny, they come up and we just started talking fishing at the Pitching and Flipping Lanes. He's actually from California. They're here for a couple years.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Nike coat.
Yes. Yeah.
Sleeves up.
Yeah, that's right.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Straight up dude, man.
Yeah,
He's a super cool cat.
Yeah.
Right? And we just started talking, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to bring you in some swim baits on Monday. He came back on Saturday. He's like, I couldn't wait, man. I had to come back.
Nice.
And, we talked, and yesterday we had like a 2-hour conversation on the phone.
Nice.
And I was like, you know what? You should really come to the
That's why
Classic.
you didn't call.
Yeah. No, I told him, I said, you should really come to the Classic, man. It's going to be amazing. And he's like, I don't want to impose. I'm like, dude, we're going down there with an army.
Yeah.
It's you're not imposing at all. We're gonna have a great time. Everybody's going. You really got to go. And he messaged me this morning. He's like, flights booked, hotels booked. Let's roll.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
Really,
man.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
man. So it's good to make new friends in this industry. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
What would we do without you, Sean McCall?
What?
Make all the friends.
I like making friends. I like making friends. a
Yeah,
lot.
me too.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, this industry has brought me you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you guys
You're the
are-
big winner here.
Yeah,
eh?
you guys are- I am. You don't see it through your eyes. I see it through mine. I am the big
I'm cheering
winner
up.
Now, before we wrap this up and do the final thought, that is a cue for everybody to start thinking about their final thought.
Wrap.
Amber, we're going to be at the Peterborough Tackle Swap and Fishing Show. We're going to do one of these live.
Yeah, we are.
I'm going to harass our sponsors to get as much stuff as I can possibly give away. We have a tote of Fear Fishing swag to give away. We are going to be at the PMC Pub and Grill, which is the restaurant in the Memorial Center.
Right inside.
You can come in, you can get some drinks, you can get some food, you can sit down, and we are going to roll out one of these podcasts. And during the podcast, we're going to give some stuff away. It's going to be fun. Make sure you come to the show. If you need fishing equipment and you don't want to break the bank, this would be the one to go to.
Big time.
Big time.
My favorite show.
Big time. That's March
It is.
15th?
March 15th.
March 15th.
My favorite show day of the year.
It is unreal
Yeah.
how much is
Yeah.
going to happen in
How many people
5
come
or
through
6
those
hours.
doors? It's
just
it's
a
a
mad
beauty
grab
of a
for
day.
fishing stuff. So
Yeah.
please come on down. I will make some posts about this as we get closer. It's going to be a great day. We're going to give some stuff away. We're going to have a ton of fun.
We're going to have some special guests on the show, too, are we not?
Oh, I can know one. Let's not press our luck of how much this is actually planned.
You know what? I hope we have
Spots
a-
are still available for guests.
I hope there's a classic trophy at the show.
That is a possibility. I'm pretty 85% sure the boys are going to be there.
Well, I don't think they're going to be there because
You get Cherokee or no? The one that was
Did it
canceled?
move?
yeah, they got pushed to the week after to that week. Like they'll be
Oh.
down there pre-fishing. What's the name of that lake? I can't believe I
We'll
forgot it.
see. They're more highly motivated young men to sell batteries.
Pickwick? No.
No.
Like Bob was saying before, they may not need the fishing checks, but they need the Peterborough battery checks.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
We will see. Hopefully the boys are going to be able to go. One of them is going to bring the classic trophy with them. Mark Hunter, final thought.
I just wanted to mention we had a little bit of a, I don't know if it's a tragedy yet or not, but there's 2 young lads, 2 15-year-old members from the Obion County High School fishing team and one of their fathers that had an accident on Pickwick during a high school tournament.
That's terrible.
They found the boat on the other side of the dam, and it sounds like the boat went over the dam, and haven't found them yet, as far as I know, since...
Thoughts and prayers
Yeah,
with
so
the
my
entire-
thoughts are with the families, the people that are out there on the lake
That's
with them,
terrible.
everybody. It's going to touch a lot of people. So prayers your way, guys.
I just want to thank everybody for having me on here.
Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I missed you,
Been
big
a
guy.
while, yeah.
It has. You're going to come back again?
Sure.
New life, new do,
Yep.
new podcast?
Yeah.
You're in.
that's the process. To
That's
get
his
on.
new model.
Yeah.
Marley, you got something?
So I've been steelheading a lot. basically every day. And
whoa! That was like
with a drinking.
That
problem.
was like the one of those '80s dating games. So I like to steelhead a lot. I ride motorcycles, and I can weld.
Right.
Anyway,
and build boats.
Anywho.
So, and it's been busy down there. So, and I've noticed a thing of people being super unapproachable and like acting kind of hard. Like you never know who you're gonna meet down there. So
Yeah, for sure.
send a smile, say hi, net a guy's fish, right? Could turn your
Absolutely,
whole life
that's a
around.
big
You
thing.
never
You know, honest to God, you're
I'm
right.
not trying to steal anybody's fish. We're just trying to have fun.
That's right. Here's the thing: in no time or place is steelheading the Bassmaster Classic. It is the ultimate social event. You may make friends, as I did, like Marley, who will be your best friends for your whole life. You're right. Go down there, have a good time. You know, you catch 5, that's awesome. The guy beside you catches 6, still awesome.
Yep.
The guy down from you catches 0. Show him what to do. Let's have all a good time. You're absolutely right, Marley. Good on you.
Tearing up again.
For sure. You know what
Another
it
Hallmark
is?
moment.
Like, yeah. We'll go around, but this is going to come back to my final thought now, too.
Yeah, it is important to get to know people. You know what I mean? Like, take that minute and actually get to know somebody, talk to them, and
Yeah, for sure.
You do grow friendships out of this
Well, and
industry.
you learn too.
Yeah,
yeah.
My final thought for this week, I'm wishing the boys, Team Canada down in Mexico, all the best. I really want to see them bring home the gold, and I'm thinking about them nonstop.
You know what? Whoa.
Whoa.
Brandon Polnick's in Mexico, eh?
When?
Right now.
Oh yeah, he had a guy die on his plane.
On his
the way
plane.
there.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he's
They
like,
think it was him. Starting a rumor.
But listen, is there any chance that Brandon Polnick's on Team USA and he didn't tell me?
I don't know.
Is it just happened that he's there?
I don't know.
Did they send him as a pre-fish ringer?
I don't know.
No.
Mark and I had dinner with David Dudley and Brian Latimer the other night, and those guys didn't even know about the event. And
And Jeremy Smith,
right?
yeah.
And Jeremy Smith, yeah. And they didn't even know about the event. And these are guys that were on Team USA. You know what I mean? So,
Why would Brandon go to Mexico while there's a tournament going that he's not going to fish? He's not fishing the Classic either, so he doesn't have to run back.
Who knows? Maybe he's
ringer.
We
might have just Scooby-Dooed this mystery.
He'd post. I don't know. It fishes like Florida, I think, down there. So
yeah, he's screwed then. Hold on, Amber. Final thought. I'm going to look at Brandon's
okay.
Instagram here for we can get an update status. Of
Well,
he's on them.
Okay, never mind.
I should probably show everybody at home.
Anglers in.
Brandon's on the fish in Mexico. We don't know if he's fishing the event. He's high-fiving. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. You sure you don't want to go?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to say that I have been hibernating this winter and not getting out doing anything, kind of feeling cold, sorry for myself. And the sun's really helping a lot, and I just wanted to say, take time, go outside, look at the sun, feel better.
Burn your eyes.
Yeah.
Burn your eyes. Burn your soul.
It feels good getting the sun out.
It's good.
Again.
Woody, light up the magic.
More tears.
You can't always change the people around you, but you can change the people around you.
Oh.
Ooh,
nice one. I've seen that.
Dark.
Deep.
The interweb.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That is pretty good. Woody always says the best final thought. It's not me.
He does. He does. And
We
now
should,
for you.
I feel like we should turn the studio around so it's the opposite way.
Right.
That would make way more sense for me. My final thought is, like Mr. Izumi said, it's not always about how many fish you catch or how big they are or how many deer you shoot or how many points they have or who's got what. I'm telling you, if you all go out and meet a bunch of good friends like me, none of that will matter. Go down the river, find some friends, go on some trips to Alabama, Texas, South Carolina, Tennessee. Travel all over the place. Be very polite to everybody because you never know. Here's a good piece of advice I got. In the fishing industry, the quietest guy in the room's got the most power, and you don't even know whose hand you shook.
Right.
I'll tell you, the guys who are at the top of these big companies aren't wearing jerseys. Say hello. Say thanks. Be polite. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. Somehow, some way. From the dark side of the interwebs.
My sight, my soul, my heart, you stole with the lies that you told. Hoping I would never know you like your plan. Want me to be another man you control. But lo and behold, see that you might be confused. But I am not a fan of being used. For your greedy ways, your ways will come to see its days. Believe me when I say that the people will unite as one. The fight is never done until the right has overcome and the wrong is washed away. See that you might be confused, but I am not a fan of being used. For your greedy ways, a few hundred years, my soul was there, and now I'm here. Don't mean that I don't care. Some ain't sincere, some are fair, but when the power's clear, integrity is rare. But I ain't gonna sit cope with the facts and lay down with no hope. Relax and enjoy to the max what you got where you at while they climb on a thin rope. Well, what they try to do is sedate us, teach us how to hate and separate us. Never really wanna tell it straight, just pretending what is great while they try to recreate us. My sight, my soul, my heart, you stole with the lies that you told.